kind of why I'm surprised the briefcase hasn't made a comeback right now.
Right?
We are so 90s right now. It's, I remember as a kid, you'd grow up and you'd see like your dad or other dads that had the briefcase. And
it was a power statement.
Yeah, it was the sign of like you're an adult, you're a grown man, you got a briefcase.
I always feel like a child even now carrying around a backpack.
Yeah. And then do you do the one strap or the two straps?
Oh, I'm team 2 all day.
Yeah. But I mean in back in the day, it was a one strap life.
Well, the one strap is coming back. It's making
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
A
hard comeback. So they're calling this the walk of shame. Any walk of shames come to mind? Like for me, it's when I go to the grocery store for bananas and I leave with a $300 tab. That walk of shame back to the vehicle doesn't feel good.
That should. Why not?
Spending money, food I don't need.
Well, okay. I mean, if it's groceries, right? Everybody needs groceries.
Yeah, but I just went for bananas, carrots, box of cereal.
Is that literally
$300?
That's happened to you. You've gone to the grocery store with the intention of just buying bananas, and you've spent $300.
I'm sure it has
That
over
seems
the
ridiculous.
years. The point is, you go to the grocery store, you always leave with too much stuff. Stuff you didn't need, stuff that wasn't on the list.
I don't think so. No, you got to go in with intention, James. Come on.
You go to the grocery store and you never leave with something you didn't have planned to purchase that was on your list.
I wouldn't say never, but yeah, I mean, you gotta stick to the list. It's a very regimented and important part of the process. That way you don't end up doing the walk of shame. I mean, the walk of shame, if you're looking for examples, I've got plenty in college for you.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, not that I did, but that I observed other people doing.
Totally you. Closing down the hawk. The other walk of shame that comes to mind is anytime, like...
That's a walk of pride, by the way.
Well stated.
You close down the hawk.
Well stated.
Fun was had in the boom boom room.
I don't know what that is, but I think I can put it.
Of course not. You didn't go to
I
Kansas.
didn't know. We didn't do it. For me, like the most awkward walk of shame would be, it took me a while to embrace the bro hug, the new age bro hug. So, but old school would be like, do you go in for the handshake? Do you go in for the fist bump? And then they go in for the fist bump, but you go in for the handshake. That happened with me and TJ Alzelberger. It's a core memory. I'll never forget it. And then just turning around and that was embarrassing.
So
I feel stupid.
What happened there?
Well, he went in for the fist bump and I went in for the handshake. And then we both flipped it at the same time where he went handshake and I went fist bump.
Yeah.
So it's just a symphony of signals, but nobody can get on the same page.
Nothing worse than when somebody goes in for the fist bump and then you go in for the hug. It's like, oh, I guess we weren't as close as we were. All right. I'll note that. I'm big into the shake into the hug. It's a handshake into the hug. But then you get some friends that are like, no, let's just hug it out. And I was like, we'll get there. You wait your time. You have patience. You go handshake to the hug, not just the hug full on.
Wait, full hug, no handshake?
Full hug, no handshake.
I didn't know that existed.
I guess I've got good friends, James.
Okay, just in there for the bear hug.
In there for the bear. Again, it's not my cup of tea. I'd prefer to start with the handshake. Then it's at least formal to start. And then it molds into a hug depending on how you feel about that person.
Well, and then is it traditional handshake into the hug, or is it kind of curl the fingers, bro handshake into the hug? There's many different options.
Well,
and it's all very stressful.
This actually happened to me when I was leaving the camp out on Saturday night. We had to leave early to get home for Asher had a basketball game early Sunday morning, and so I didn't want to wake up really and have to pack up everything, so we left Saturday night. And so there's a group of there's a group of guys sitting around, and everybody's shooting the breeze, and all right, we're going to leave, we're going to take off. And so then you kind of do like the main friends that you have, and that's where you do the handshake hug. But then you start to kind of say goodbye to everybody, and it's like, well, I might as well just hug everybody. Might as well just go and hug the entire crew. We just met, but it's great to meet you. Let's hug it out.
So full hug for like the core group of friends.
But it's like
then
a bunch
down the line. You're
like,
like 8 guys deep, and you're like, I don't really know Carl, but
it's like a receiving line. It's like, what am I supposed to do now? He's going to feel uncomfortable, or maybe he's going to feel uncomfortable regardless if I don't hug him or if I hug him. So yeah, I just did like a receiving line of hugging people at the end.
You don't strike me as a hugger.
Interesting. I'm a big hugger.
And I don't mean that as
No,
a
it came
negative.
off very mean. So
I only say that because, I brought the massage gun last week, and you seemed very put off by it. Don't touch me. In fact, there was one day last year, I think I came in here and just went straight for the shoulder rub, said you look stressed out.
yeah, that's a little uncouth.
Okay. But you're team
I-
hug.
yeah.
Taman, are you team hug?
What's the difference? I mean, there's a huge difference between a hug and a back rub.
I am.
Fair point.
I mean,
It's a fair point.
going in for the back
I
rub.
thought we were close.
I feel like you have to work up for the hug. It doesn't come right away.
No,
No, same.
100%. Yeah, no, it's a.
But some people just have that personality where right away. They're usually like jangling change in their pockets, and you see them, and you're like, that's a hugger.
jangling
That guy wants a
change in their
hugger.
pocket. What?
Yeah, they're walking around all smiles, keys,
Change? Who keeps change in their pockets?
They're rattling around stuff in their pockets.
Maybe keys.
That's what I meant, keys.
Keys change.
Some guys, yeah, you just know, like, that guy's going to hug me. I can feel it. 100 yards away, that's a hugger.
I always go in with the intention of buying something with cash, and then I'm like, well, I don't want change, so let me take my credit card out.
You still carry cash.
Occasionally.
Okay.
Depends on if the mood strikes me.
Okay, I'm here for it. All right, before we dive into
So wait, are you team hug, or are you just kind of team go with the flow, you non-confrontational?
yeah, team go with the flow, I'd
Yeah.
say. Sometimes there's a hug, it just depends, but usually it's just the handshake fist bump
You're along for the
combo.
ride. Whatever they're in for, you're in for it too.
You want a hug, let's do it, all right? But am I going to initiate the hug? Probably not. No, I would initiate the fist bump. Big fist bump guy.
Yeah.
Knuckle to knuckle.
Got a fist bump. Is there anything more informal than that?
The fist bump?
Yeah. Like, it feels in today's world like it's totally acceptable, and yet, like, when you think back to, like,
The 90s?
the 90s, if we're going to continue down that path, like, if somebody came up to you to shake your hand and you gave them a fist bump, you'd be like, what in the world is going on here? Like, it used to be you could judge somebody by how they shook your hand.
Yes.
That was a whole thing. Is it firm? Is it soft? Like, I've been working on my handshake for years, perfecting, trying to make sure that, well, it's a little bit too firm. Your handshake says, I'm trying to go in there like I'm the strongest guy in the room.
Okay.
What did my handshake say?
You had a dainty handshake.
Dainty lady
A
handshake.
lady handshake.
Well, it was an awkward
All right.
position. It's like, I don't,
Get in there for the real deal.
you always
Here
get.
you go. Get the mic out of the way. No, that's that's a handshake. That's the art of manliness. Right there, handshake. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
You've been working on your handshake?
Oh, for years.
Years?
And then what happens is then now we're in a fist bump world. It's like it's completely irrelevant now that I've been working and perfecting my craft.
How do you work on your handshake?
What do you mean?
You're just walking around shaking people's hands?
You bet.
Trying to
Yeah.
in the mirror like
No, I mean you can't. No, that's not a handshake.
just working on your handshake where you're like, I'm
Working.
going to work on this. When I see this guy, I'm going in there and I'm getting after it.
You work on the muscles. You work on the dexterity. You work on the what positioning.
Stress
Do
balls.
you go in like this? Do you go in like this? I mean, clearly not.
Cup.
Cup.
Yeah. This is a banger.
Cup.
This is a banger. Had no idea.
Cup.
I learned something new about
Can
you.
you
today.
drink out of this?
Hey, you kind of cup the wrist.
I don't see it.
No, I mean, like bend it a little is what I'm saying. Not like you're actually holding a cup.
Okay. You said cup. It's like, okay.
That's fantastic. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. But now we live in a world where the fist bump is good enough, and it's like, what I've been working on for the last decade.
Decade. It's outdated. It's outdated.
Extremely important, that handshake. It might get you a job someday. The right handshake in the right moment. It's a game changer.
That's the advice I should be sharing with my students.
That's right.
All right, coming up next here on Big 12 today.
Perfect the craft.
Returning snaps for Big 12 football teams. There's a top 3 team nationally. The most production in the Big 12. We'll tell you who it is coming up next before we talk a little Texas Tech softball with Nathan Geis here in about 30 minutes. It's Big 12 Today, powered by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn. Back here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. Our Big 12 Power Hour later today, sponsored by Modelo. That'll be at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time. We'll highlight our newcomer series, the top 5 Big 12 newcomers in the conference at the cornerback position. We each have separate lists that we'll be breaking down Big 12 coverage all day long here on Big 12 Radio. So our friends at CBS put together returning snaps for Big 12 football teams. Notre Dame is number 1 in the country. Maryland is number 2. Checking in at number 3, returning production in the entire country, BYU. 60% of their offensive snaps return. 65% of their defensive snaps return. So they're 11th offensively, 4th in the country defensively. And I just went back and I looked. BYU finished last season 11th in the AP Top 25. The final post-college football playoff, post-bowl season poll had BYU 11th. Texas was number 12, by the way, and Oklahoma was number 13. BYU has the third most production in the country coming back. They have a top 20 recruiting class, according to 24/7 Composite Sports. Where should BYU be ranked in the preseason?
I mean, I think anywhere between 1 and 3. Is that fair?
Based off of all the data?
Yeah, I mean, look, returning production is just one data point, is it not? You know, it's an important data point, and I'm not trying to diminish it, but I think there are others. You know, overall talent. I think when you look at the teams that have the least amount of snaps returning in terms of their percentages, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Colorado, they're all at 21% or lower. Iowa State and Oklahoma State are at 10%. That's probably a good thing for some of those schools. For Oklahoma State, it's certainly a good thing. For West Virginia, it's probably a good thing. Colorado, it's probably a good thing to not return a bunch of players from last year, right? So what do you think was BYU's biggest weakness last year?
Probably a lack of explosive plays. A lot of their drives were longer, sustained drives. They always won the field position battle because they were really good defensively. They're 4th in the country in returning defensive production. So I would say those splash plays offensively.
Yeah, and maybe more to a point, the quarterback. But it wasn't the fault of the quarterback, who's a true freshman who didn't spend spring on campus. So they put him in more of a bus driver situation and evolved over the course of the year. They did the best they could, right? So I would imagine, based upon the continuity at that position with the quarterback, the head coach, and the offensive coordinator, that there should be, you know, some important jumps that BYU takes moving forward. Do you have them as the favorite in the conference right now?
Yes, and I apologize. I asked where BYU should be in the preseason. I meant nationally. Not just in the Big 12. Where should they be ranked?
Yeah, I was thinking Big 12
in the AP Top 25.
You looked at me like I told you that your face was pink. like
they finished a spot ahead of Texas, 2 spots ahead of Oklahoma in the final poll. They've got the 3rd most production coming back in the entire country in a top 20 recruiting
It should be top
class.
10.
Totally agree.
I would think. They won't be.
Also agree.
Because if there's one program that never gets the benefit of the doubt, it's BYU. If there's one program that always gets the benefit of the doubt, it's Texas. By the way, I think Texas is in for another disappointing season.
Why is that?
I don't know that they've improved enough where they've needed to. I also think Arch Manning has some limitations that people just continue to look over. He's not great throwing on the run. He's not great on the move in terms of, you know, he's either one or the other. Like, he's either going to run or he's going to throw, which I think makes you a lot easier to defend. I'm not sure their offensive line is going to be better than it was last year.
Well, and
but they're going to get the benefit of the doubt on it.
Like, Arch either had record-setting days or he was throwing a bunch of interceptions.
Yeah.
It was kind of feast or famine. But the post-spring, like, preseason way too early rankings from CBS and ESPN and USA Today, they all have BYU anywhere from 14th to 17th, like mid-teens, which to me is way too low based off of where they finished, what they have coming back, and what they've added in the portal. They don't bring as many transfers in as most programs, but they've got 3 4-stars coming in. Like, they bring in depth pieces, and you don't have to bring in that many transfers when you have so many guys retaining. And they're 23-4 over the past 2 years.
Yeah, and remember how we feel about football polls, because so much of where teams are ranked from an AP perspective is based upon brand and, I guess, recent success to a degree. Even though Clemson seems to find themselves in there, and Texas too, which has not had a ton of success in recent history. Basically just one successful season by their standard a couple of years ago, and beating Arizona State in a game that they barely beat them by. That doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case. Is Texas Tech going to be in the top 10 in the preseason poll? Maybe not with the Brendan Sorsby loss. If he were there, they might be in the top 5 based upon the talent they brought in, and they've kind of, it seems like, turned a corner when it comes to the perception of them. But, I mean, that's sort of the way it goes with the AP poll with the Big 12. It's like, you put a bunch of teams from the SEC or the Big 10 and then maybe throw a couple of ACC teams in there that are always overinflated. And then, you get your way down in the top 15. It's like, oh, let's stack up the Big 12 teams here. This is where we have BYU and Houston and Arizona State.
And I just saw Joel Klatt's way too early top 25. The highest ranked Big 12 team was 13th.
Texas Tech?
Texas Tech. So BYU's third in the country when you look at these returning snap numbers. Texas Tech is 21st in the country. Houston is 30th. And then TCU cracks the top 50. Arizona 51. UCF 57. And then KU and K-State to follow. When you look at the list collectively, who jumps out in terms of, like, man, they've got way more guys coming back than I would have thought based off of last season, or just as we've gone through the newcomer series that maybe surprise you?
I mean, I would think the teams that have surprised me based on the sort of off-season research that we've undergone are the teams probably at the bottom here in terms of returning snaps. Colorado, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Iowa State. Oklahoma State stands out. That's a team that's sort of a dark horse favorite nationally, and it's hard to disagree there. I also really I think when we looked at the deep dive on West Virginia, I really like what they've done in terms of the talent they brought in, both, 4-star high school talent, the quarterback position. Feels like they've done a lot there. Now, I don't think West Virginia is going to be competing for the Big 12 championship, but a 6-win, 7-win season I don't think is also out of the picture in terms of being a bowl team and building something towards next year. I think Iowa State will probably be at the bottom of the conference. That one's hard to kind of overlook. Colorado, to me, also, it feels like this is right on schedule with when people are down on Colorado. That's when they tend to play their best football, and Deion being on campus in a way that he wasn't last year, I think makes a huge difference. Utah's probably a little bit lower than I would have expected. Utah's getting a lot of love nationally at the top, and they do bring back Dampier. There's a lot that they bring back, but I feel like there's got to be a wait and see with Morgan Scalley, and not just to see if he's the right guy, but what his talent looks like and how he is as a head coach.
Well, in BYU, so they have more returning snaps than the bottom 4 teams combined: Colorado, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. If you look at the bottom, and we can even take the bottom 6, like the 6 teams that are outside the top 100 in returning production, and remember, this is all schools. This isn't just power conference schools. And there's a lot of, like, group of 6 schools that are in the top 20. Delaware, New Mexico, Army, Air Force, et cetera, et cetera. Who's the best value pick in terms of those last 6? Like, who's the one team that finishes way above their projections?
Like, to compete for the conference or
Yeah.
above their projections?
Both. Let's say compete for the conference.
So this list would include Cincinnati, Arizona State, Baylor, Colorado, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State.
Sure, we can throw Cincinnati in there. That's 7, yeah.
I'd say probably Oklahoma State or Arizona State. Those are the 2. Arizona State, just based on precedent here. It's hard not to bet on Kenny Dillingham. Hopefully I won't make that mistake anymore because Kyle Whittingham's not in the conference anymore. But yeah, I just think there's a a history here that suggests that Kenny Dillingham knows what he's doing, and you should have some faith and confidence in him. And then for Oklahoma State, I mean, just what they brought in, the continuity with their head coach and quarterback, it feels like there's a good mix there.
Mm-hmm. The bottom of the returning production nationally is really intriguing to me because Iowa State and Oklahoma State are the two dead last teams in the country. Coaching changes, complete overhauls. The third worst team or fewest returning production is North Texas because all of those North Texas guys
Or Oklahoma State.
are at Oklahoma State. And then it's UTEP, UConn, Jim Mora's left, Auburn, and James Madison. James Madison, who is just in the college football playoff, gets absolutely gutted in the portal, which goes to show that for these group of 6 schools, you make the college football playoff, all eyes are on you. Teams are hunting for your players after the fact.
Well, and not only their players, but coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the group of 6 programs that made the playoff or were competing for it all lost their head coaches. I mean, it's as bad as it looks from a conference distribution standpoint, with the Big 12 looking up at the SEC and the Big 10, man, think of how much worse it is for the Atlantic Coast or the American Athletic Conference or the Pac-12 or the Mountain West or the MAC. Right? I mean, these teams and programs have pennies on the dollar compared to where the Big 12 is, and then obviously in comparison to the SEC and the Big 10, it's a totally different ballgame.
If Texas Tech is the favorite in the Big 12, is the wrong team favored to win the league?
No, I don't think so. Just the talent profile, the history here, which is only 1 year, right? It's just 1 year of winning the Big 12, but yeah, I mean, look, they were top 5 in every one of our lists we did this week, looking over the top 5 defensive players at every position. I don't think there was a group that they were left out of without representation. Say a very talented team, despite the snaps they've lost. The difference between BYU and Texas Tech is BYU has the continuity, whereas Tech doesn't, but has a ton of talent to replace the guys they lost that were just drafted.
It's interesting because after Arizona State won the Big 12 championship, I wouldn't say Arizona State was the favorite to win last year, right? I think that shifted to Baylor was a sexy pick, Texas Tech, Kansas State was a popular pick, Utah was a very popular pick, and Texas Tech just rolled through the league.
And, think about a guy like Micah Hudson. Micah Hudson's snaps aren't being accounted, or they are being accounted for here, but it's not very many, right? So they aren't. This is sort of the flaw of the returning snap metric, and it's a good way to look at it for sure. But Hudson's not going to show up a ton, but he's returning production. Now Hudson's an interesting cat because he was a 5-star wide receiver. He's had quite the road. He had a really good spring game. Does that translate to having success this season? It doesn't. There's no correlation whatsoever, but maybe he does. For me, I think a lot of these guys, and Hudson's a good example of it, they need a come to Jesus moment in their careers. Mm-hmm. They need a moment where it's oh wait, this could be taken away very quickly, and suddenly all these things that I thought were easily attainable are gone. Micah Hudson coming out of high school thought, I'm definitely an NFL draft pick.
Yeah, 5-star, top 5 recruit nationally.
Now he's got now he's got to work his way back into that, right? So some guys never have that realization, and by the time they do, it's too late. I think Hudson has been sort of in a interesting spot to where he's been sort of able to have that. He's been humbled. A lot of those guys need to be humbled, and they're not, and then by the time they get humbled, it's too late.
Well, and if you're looking for holes in this returning snaps theory, 2 years ago, the number 1 team in America was Kansas, and that was fresh off a 9-win season, and they went 5-7. All right, let's pivot over to Texas Tech softball. The Big 12 tournament starts soon. From the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, Nathan Geis will join us, and then after that, we are ranking the top 5 defensive players for the upcoming football season, overall defensive players in the Big 12. He's Ari, I'm James. We're powered by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn and watched on Big 12 Studios.
Corner for Wyoming. And Sam Levitt on the move, completes the pass. There's Mateer, the tight end, and into the end zone for an ASU touchdown. Javon Mateer.
Levitt rolling out, throwing to the end zone. Touchdown, Mateer.
.17 to go until halftime. Levitt will throw short to the tight end. There he goes. Touchdown, Sun Devils. Mateer, 16 yards, and it's 20-0.
Steps out of the tackle. He'll throw it again. That's a touchdown. It's Mateer back in the game.
Already run 52 plays. Rudo gets his chance. They fake it to him. Set up the tight end screen. Shimon Mateer to the outside for a touchdown.
Third and 8. The adjustment is made. Mateer, flag down, catch is made, touchdown, Shimon Mateer.
5-minute mark, 8th play of the drive. This one down the seam for a touchdown. Shimon Mateer with an 18-yard score.
Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Heading out to Lubbock, Nathan Geese, Texas Tech beat writer for the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, joins us here on Big 12 Radio. Hey, Nathan, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. Saw that Nyjah was drafted by the Texas Vaults. We've had Kat Osterman on the program several times. She was the number 2 pick. Nyjah in the 2026 AUSL draft. But for our audience, what is that, and is this a big deal?
For
For those that don't know, it's the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. It's still kind of in its infancy. Last year was kind of the first big year they had when they started up the draft. This is the second draft that I know of that they've done. So Niger getting the second pick overall. It is a pretty big deal. They don't have a ton of picks. They don't have a ton of teams. They have 6 teams now. Each team plays a 25-game season, which starts about 4 days after the end of the Women's College World Series. So for teams going to Oklahoma City, there's really no stoppage point. You just kind of keep going until the end of that season. And I did kind of think that she would be number 1, but when you look at the results of the draft, it's kind of more regional based. Like teams are picking players that are going to kind of help them boost up ticket sales and everything. So it made sense that Nigel's going to the Texas Folds like she is. They're playing games in Round Rock. That's going to increase some fan traffic and ticket sales there because there's a lot of Tech fans down in that area too.
All right, so how do you evaluate this Tech team compared to last year? Obviously, last year was a lightning in a bottle. They lost to Texas in the national title. Is this team better? Have they played better? I mean, talent-wise, they're better. Have they played better?
That's kind of the weird thing about this season. Last year was very much you just kind of want to see how it worked, right? So when they went and won the Big 12, that was kind of the proof of concept that you can kind of bring in an elite player like Nyjah and surround her with solid team players and just kind of let that build organically, and it can turn into something. I don't think anybody foresaw them going all the way to 1 game away from national championship, right? I think that would have been too high of lofty expectations. So when they went out and put this team together and added 4 different All-Americans around Nyjah, including the two-way dynamo like Caitlin Terry, who's been exceptional at the plate as well as in the pitching circle, you kind of have to adjust what you're expecting of this team. And you can tell the talent is much different this year. They've built up a lot of depth, which has become very necessary when they're starting right fielder. She's been out for most of the year. They were kind of able to replace her, not easily, but a little bit easier than you could in the past. Their starting catcher isn't with the team right now. She's dealing with some personal matters. So it is kind of looking at this team and thinking you expect them to win it all. And I think that's kind of weighed on them a little bit. So watching them, you know the talent's there, but you expect them to just kind of dominate everybody on a game-by-game basis. And that just doesn't happen in softball, right? Like the reason Oklahoma's winning streak was so impressive is because when you're playing 55, 60 games before you get into the actual tournament, you're going to take a hit or two. You're going to take a loss here or there. So they've taken a couple here in the last month, and it has kind of shifted. Like, oh, is something going on here? I think they've got the talent to do it, and they can put it together at the right time. But you do kind of have to look at, is the expectation of perfection kind of weighing on them? Because, you watch teams around the country, they've got the energy, they're having fun out there. And Tech is that very business-like approach, and I think they kind of have to feel like they kind of have to do that. So what I would kind of like to see from them starting this week in the Big 12 tournament in the postseason is just have fun playing the game again, because I don't know for sure if they've really been able to kind of unleash that fun atmosphere that softball kind of thrives on.
Did you say, Nate, the catcher is not with the team? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the way they built this team, they had 3 catchers, essentially. Last year's returning starter, Vic Valdez, she's kind of number 3, but she's their best defensive catcher, and she's got the best relationship with Nyjah out there. So they've been working her in a lot more. Then they brought in Jasmine Burns from Ohio State, All-American last year, and Longi Kuroga, first-team All-ACC catcher from Cal. I kind of expected Burns to be the starter there, but Kuroga really became their starter at catcher. She was great. She at the plate, she became a lot better on defense than I think even Tech expected. So Kuroga was the one that was starting at catcher, but she came out of the lineup about a month ago and just wasn't playing. And then Glasgow announced, I believe last week, 2 weeks ago, that she's not with the team right now, dealing with personal matters. They're expecting her to be back at some point. She wasn't back this last weekend. We're not really sure when she's going to be there. But the thing is, when you're building up that kind of depth, you have an All-American Jazzy Burns coming in, stepping in, and she's been on fire lately. So when you're looking at that, it is a loss because Kuroga is kind of that energy plug a little bit for him. But production-wise, Burns has been insane the last 10 games.
If anybody can knock Tech off in the Big 12 tournament, is that Arizona? Is there any path towards anybody being able to knock off Tech in the tournament?
I think it's kind of the same as it's been all year. If Tech loses, it's kind of on them. Arizona does have a win over them this year, so that they kind of have that going. But I think when you've seen a team before during the season and you go into the tournament, you know what to kind of expect. I think they just got kind of caught off guard there. I mean, it was a run rule game in a game Nyjah pitched, but Nyjah was amazing in that game. Tech just didn't have the offense to go with it. So I think that would help them in a potential rematch in the situation. Oklahoma State's kind of the interesting one because they wouldn't face them until a championship game. And they do have the pitcher, Ruby Malin, who could go against Tech and give them problems. But the question there is how much is Oklahoma State going to use Malin? Because they're going to need her in the regionals and super regionals to probably pitch every game. Whereas Tech doesn't have to rely on Nyjah like that, with Terry been so awesome for him in the circle. So I'm not totally sure if anybody – I'm not going to pick anybody to beat them. They could be beat for sure. But I would say Oklahoma State or Arizona are probably the most likely candidates.
Talking with Nathan Geese from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. You noted the other day, Nate, that Texas Tech, the team that took the field on Saturday, can win the whole thing, but the one that played on Friday doesn't sniff OKC. What did you mean by that, and what was the difference?
It was kind of that energy factor. So a lot of the times when you have a team of whatever we just call it, a group of mercenaries out there, they're trying to smash everybody, you expect them to just kind of beat up on teams like Baylor. And they were for a little bit there. They were up 6-1 in that game, and they blew it. They got down 8-6 in the seventh inning. And the only time in recent memory that they really had some juice was in that bottom of the seventh when they were trying to mount the comeback. But by then it was just too late. And you got Maya Davis and Terry. They were kind of in hitting slumps right now. They weren't able to come through for them in the end there. But then the very next day, I went home that night thinking, okay, this team might not win the whole thing. And then Nyjah goes out there and reminds you, oh, yeah, she's still Nyjah Kennedy. She can go out there and dominate a game in the circle for you. You just need enough offense to kind of go around that. And they just had that juice from the opening pitch that you can feel like they knew they had to get this. And to me, I think that's the one thing that is kind of holding them back. They're too reserved. They're too quiet. You got to kind of get those juices flowing early, which they didn't do on Friday night, and they definitely had on Saturday. And that's why I think the difference for them is going to be how they handle themselves as much as how they play out there.
I'm curious for how Texas Tech fans have embraced the softball team. Like, what have the crowds been like? What has this attention been like for Texas Tech softball over the last couple of years?
That's the thing Jerry tried to get from day one. They started out by having open scrimmages, open exhibitions during the fall, and the crowds were okay during football season. You're trying to just kind of build some buzz, let people know, hey, we're trying to do something here. They were all right, and it took a few games throughout the regular season to get those crowds, but then they started selling out every game, and the crowds have been awesome. They've been really full. They're getting a lot louder out there, and Jerry is very proud of the fact that they're turning Lubbock into a softball town, which is really hard to do when you're playing this sport in the middle of the men's basketball program is really good, and the football team is always kind of a focus there. The fans have really responded, and the thing I've always said about Tech fans is if you give them a reason to get excited and show up, they're going to show up in full force, and they've done that.
Nate, just a quick pivot. You also wrote about, the transfer portal for the men's basketball team and kind of what the roster looks like right now. And we've taken a look at that as well. But I'm curious, what do you think the roster needs to kind of round out for 2026-27?
Everything. This was always going to kind of be a weird offseason for him because of Christian Anderson. I expected him in October to go pro, and now he's going through the NBA draft process. The thing that shifts it is JT Toppin's injury. So instead of building a team around him, in my mind, you're probably going into the season not expecting him to play at all. So you're going from one huge piece, an first-team All-American guy, being your center point, to we just kind of have to fill out a team, and our identity is going to be so different. And the thing Tech fans are not super pleased about right now is that they're taking a very methodical approach to this. They got one high school recruit in Dakari Spear coming in, and they've signed 3 guys out of the portal, but they're losing 10 guys. So you're replacing 10 with 4 right now, so the math ain't mathing there. So what they need to do is, one, they got to get probably another proven big man. I think they're probably looking at the international route for that because the portal's kind of dried up a proven college big man right now. And then you just got to fill out a roster, which is something every team needs. You got to try to hope that depth comes with it. They're in a very different spot the last couple of years, but if there's one thing I'm never going to do is doubt what Grant McCaslin's doing, because he's proven time and again. The guy knows what he's doing. Just let him work, and he'll figure it out once they get into the season.
Yeah, that's well said. Nathan Geese from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal covers Texas Tech, joining us here on Big 12 Radio. Nate, appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the Big 12 tournament.
All right, thank you very much.
Nate Geese, phenomenal stuff for the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, covers all things Texas Tech. Coming up next here on Big 12 Today, we rank the top 5 defensive players for the 2026 season overall. We've gone through each position group. Now we break down the top 5 overall defensive players in this upcoming season for the league. He's Ari, I'm James. This is Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn.
Floating into the end zone. It's intercepted by Canada. The second interception for the TCU defense.
Now just shy of the 45. Here's Greenwood to the perimeter with a first down. And into TCU territory, hit by Canada.
Comes out with a zone option here coming off. You see him holding the football there because he can throw the football. If Love makes a block there.
So he's come back this year, had to earn the job in fall camp, did so, and he's been great. This quick hitter from Wilson, and an immediate tackle in the open field. DeJon Stanley with the catch, but stopped well short. Wilson going to check down to the left. It's 1-on-2, a little hesitation move, and then Bernard gets shoved out of bounds.
Plays in the block here. Morton's pass. Out route complete, but short of the first down yardage.
Is Mayava floating into the
We play a little valid or void here in about 20 minutes. Taman has brought the topics, and we validate or void his statements. The Big 12 Power Hour, our newcomer series, is at 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time, right here on the channel. And tune in, and Big 12 Radio, Big 12 Today, our show, can now be found on the Big 12 Conference app. So if you haven't downloaded the Big 12 app, there's breaking news, there's scores, schedules, stats, and now us right there on the Big 12 Conference app. So one more way to listen to us. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, and you can always watch us on Big 12 Studios via Amazon Prime, DirecTV, YouTube, many other avenues. Our newcomer series today highlights Big 12 cornerbacks, the top 5 Big 12 cornerbacks coming into this league. That is at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. But today, Ari, we've been going through each position group on the defensive side of the ball, defensive tackles and edge rushers, linebackers, safeties, corners. Today we put it all together and rank the top 5 defensive players coming into the upcoming football season. So, without further ado, who do you have at number 5?
Yeah, number 5 for me is a guy that I absolutely left off my list at corner defensive back, and that's Bryce Pollock, the Texas Tech defensive back. Started all 14 games last year, led the Big 12 with 5 interceptions, recorded 7 PBUs, 46 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, under 797 snaps. And, look, this is a guy that transferred in from Mississippi State, a guy that was extremely productive as a corner at Mississippi State, so he's already produced over multiple seasons at the SEC and now Big 12 level. He's also a former track star, 11.19 seconds the 100-meter dash and a 23 in the 200-meter dash. So he's got the track speed that helps him, get in, track down balls deep down the field, and recovery speed. So he's just got the full package. Bryce Pollock, he'll be one of the best corners in college football next year, and he's number 5 on my list.
Love it. Number 5 for me, I go to the interior of the defensive line, C.J. Fite from Arizona State, who could have entered the NFL draft, was projected to be a top 80 pick, a two-way player in high school, part of that Texas to Tempe pipeline. He was one of the founding fathers of that pipeline for Kenny Dillingham, one of his first recruits when he got the job. He was second team All Big 12 last year, had 6.5 TFLs, his best single season total throughout his entire career, and he will be the cornerstone of that Arizona State defense. Again, a guy that could have gone pro, decided to come back. That's why he's in my top 5.
Number 4 for me is the player with the most upside on this list, and that would be Kansas State pass rusher Wendell Gregory, who was the Big 12 defensive freshman of the year last year with 27 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. The 12 tackles for loss are the most of any FBS freshman. Also had 7 QB hurries and 32 pressures. So he was inside the top 10% of all edge rushers in college football. And, with multiple years of eligibility remaining, Wendell Gregory is going to explode on the scene this year. I think he's going to have a huge opportunity, and it's why I have him number 4.
Big fan of that pick. Number 4 for me, now this is where I go to the secondary. I've got Evan Johnson, the cornerback from BYU. Again, he arrived at BYU with 0 experience playing cornerback. He was recruited as purely a wide receiver, went to a small private high school near Pebble Beach. He has grown about an inch since he got on campus. He's now 6'2", started in all 14 games last year, and only allowed 44% passes completed on 75 targets, less than 420 receiving yards all season long. He also had 5 interceptions, which tied Bryce Pollock for the most in the Big 12. So I've got Evan Johnson, the corner from BYU, checking in at number 4.
Number 3 for me is the BYU safety, Faletau Satuala. And I think this is a guy at 6'4", 215 pounds that will have a major decision to make after the end of this season in terms of the draft. He's, probably the most important player. We talked earlier about how much continuity and roster chemistry that this team has in terms of snaps. I think 64% of their defensive snaps are back, and Satuala was maybe the best of any of those guys. Maybe too low on this list, quite frankly. He may be the best defensive player in the Big 12. And, 83 total tackles last year, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, a pick six, and a sack. Second team All-American honors.
You know, I found myself, as we put this list together, valuing certain positions over others, much like they do in the NFL. Number 3 for me is another corner. This is where I've got Bryce Pollock, the corner from Texas Tech, the 6-foot senior from Snellville, Georgia. Nobody knew how good this kid would be when he got to campus. Like, he played and started at Mississippi State, but they weren't very good. And so I think he was overlooked in a lot of ways. He had 46 tackles. He had 5 interceptions. That tied with Johnson for the lead in the Big 12. He had 7 pass breakups across 13 games. And he was a unanimous All-Big 12 first-team corner. AP, coaches, Pro Football Focus. He was 3rd in the country with those 5 picks. I've got Pollock at number 3.
Yeah, good call there. I kind of took that into account, but not maybe as much as you did. I've got another BYU defensive player, Isaiah Glasker, on number 2 on my list. Glasker, the senior, 6'5", 240 pounds, led the Big 12 in tackles for loss at 14.5 last year, with 70 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and 3 interceptions, including a pick 6. So, he's been a beast. And the fact now that he's fully healthy, his ankle's got rest. I mean, he played kind of through a gimpy ankle last year. I think he's going to be one of the best defensive players in the league next year, along with Satuala. So Glasker, for me, checks in at number 2. Back-to-back BYU defensive players.
Man, and I had a BYU guy that's not one of those 2 on my list. So it tells you about the depth of their team on the defensive side of the ball. All right, number 2 for me is a bit of an upside pick. This is where I have Wendell Gregory, the Kansas State edge rusher who was the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. He was 3rd team All-Conference last year at Oklahoma State, and he was Oklahoma State's first All-Big 12 defensive player since Colin Oliver back in 2021. He led all FBS freshmen in the entire country in tackles for loss. He had 12 last season, and again, he played on a team that had no pass rush outside of him. So teams could target him, and he still found a way to get to the quarterback. He was a high 4-star recruit out of high school, and really last year was the first time he had been on the field because he didn't see a lot of action at South Carolina, his first stop. So this is more an upside pick, even though he was the Freshman of the Year and he was an All-Big 12 guy. I've got Gregory at number 2.
Number 1 for me is the interior defensive lineman for Texas Tech and the first All-American interior defensive lineman at Texas Tech since Gabe Rivera did it in 1982. That's A.J. Holmes, who transferred from Houston to Tech, rejoins Sheil Wood, his defensive coordinator. He appeared in all 14 games, 38 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 7 QB hurries, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble. He's a disruptive force in the middle of the defensive line. I think you have an interior presence that could get after the quarterback and be that disruptive in terms of tackles for loss. That's exactly what the modern game necessitates. And I think with Trick and Trey White and some of the guys that Texas Tech is bringing back, that he's not going to take much of a step back in terms of his disruption in the backfield. A.J. Holmes, for me, the most disruptive player on defense in the Big 12. That's why he's number 1 for me.
We have the same number 1. I also have A.J. Holmes, the defensive tackle at Texas Tech, which his production last year may have been a little bit overshadowed by Lee Hunter and Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey. But he had all the numbers, like 9 TFLs, 5 sacks, 2nd team All-American, 1st team All-Big 12 by the AP and Pro Football Focus. He's expected to be probably a first-round draft pick, 2nd at worst this season, and he has the 3rd highest Pro Football Focus grade among any defensive lineman in the entire country coming into 2026. He was a big anchor and big part of that Texas Tech defense that led the Big 12 in scoring defense and rushing defense and total defense. He also, he battled some injuries last year, and he was still that productive. Went to the same high school as Ed Oliver, the Houston great, and he switches back to number 10, a number he wore in high school, has coveted ever since. So A.J. Holmes, new number, same dude, 6'3", 300. He is my number 1.
Yeah, the unanimous number 1 now, and look, this is a Tech defense last year that led the Big 12 in scoring defense, rushing defense, and total defense. They ranked top 5 nationally in all 3 categories. A.J. Holmes is a big reason for that, and he's the reason why you and I both have him as the number 1 defensive player in the Big 12 heading into the season. Our lists, I included Satuala and Glasker. You included Johnson and Fight. So there's the differences. We had 3 of the same players, but in different orders, except for Holmes. So I have Tech at 1 and 5. Could have also had Ben Roberts, the linebacker for Texas Tech, on this list. But only basically 3 schools represented on my list. You've got 4. Another guy that I also considered for my list was Cade Ulave, the transfer linebacker for BYU, who I think could explode. So when you look at this, BYU, Arizona State, Texas Tech, no surprise there. They're expected to be 3 of the top teams in the Big 12, and they're defensively as good as anybody.
I had to go back through all the texts I've sent Anthony, our producer on the video side, of our top 5s.
Yeah, it's good
To try and figure out who the 5 are going to be. I think the Big 12 is pretty deep, and we've got 7 guys, okay? 11 guys are all Big 12. So these are probably 7 of the 11.
Yeah. There could be some surprises. Some guys that, have down seasons that were expected to have really good years, and the opposite too, guys that emerged that weren't expected to do much. Where were the misses here? Ben Roberts is the one that stands out, obviously coming off the Big 12 championship game where he was the most outstanding player. He was unbelievable in that game. Jamel Johnson, the strong safety for TCU, is pretty high on my safety list. I missed on CJ Fight, but you had Fight, was for me number 6 on my list.
Yeah, I would have probably, the only guy that you haven't mentioned that I maybe would have included, Austin Romaine, because he was all league back-to-back years at Kansas State. And again, I think sometimes these transfers, like within the conference, I don't know why in my brain I'm like, okay, is he going to be as good as he was at his previous school, at his new school? But in the case of Austin Romaine, who fills in for Jacob Rodriguez, and in the case of Wendell Gregory from Oklahoma State to K-State, I think both will shine at their new schools. Trey Smith from Arizona maybe would have got a mention. Tanavasa from BYU, the defensive tackle. But I'm with you on like what stood out collectively. The 2 dominant forces in this league, BYU and Texas Tech defensively. And last year, I think Utah probably would have had more of a representation. To me, this I don't know that we've had a Utah player on our top 5 at any position.
Yeah.
During this series.
Well, I had Jackson Benny on my list.
Okay.
As the safety list. He was the one that made my list. But, yeah, it's a good call there. And then a couple other guys, Tay Brown, the Arizona linebacker, and then Hosea Wheeler, the defensive tackle for Baylor, assuming that he's eligible, the former Indiana star. Huge piece to build off of for Baylor's defensive line.
Mateen Igorogba,
yeah.
transfer from Wake Forest to Texas Tech. Like, you look at Texas Tech and BYU's projected depth charts, and defensively there are no holes, at least right now. Based off of what these teams have back, what they have coming in. They're both in the top 25 in returning production. They've both had outstanding portal classes as well. All right, those are our top 5 defensive players for the upcoming college football season in the Big 12. Tomorrow we pivot over to the offensive side of the football. We'll start on the offensive line, but coming up next, valid or void. Taman has the topics. We have the takes. It's Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn. Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. Don't miss our Big 12 Power Hour, our newcomer series at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time. We'll be talking with Chancellor Johnson here in about 15 minutes, who is putting together a Film Don't Lie series highlighting the 2026 NBA Draft. So can't wait to get a preview of that and all the Big 12 guys that will be taken in the upcoming draft. But our Big 12 Power Hour, our newcomer series highlighting Big 12 newcomer cornerbacks, members of the secondary at 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. When we say Power Hour, what comes to mind?
Drinking a shot of beer, 1 shot of beer every minute for 60 minutes, which is something I did in college. And then you could do the Century Club, which is 100. And yeah, it's a lot of Modelo, I'm not going to lie.
The Century Club?
Uh-huh.
100 in 100 minutes?
You got it.
Hour 40? Math is mathin'. The math is mathin'.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I think of, which I don't know what that says about me. You?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Or AC/DC, Thunderstruck. Take a sip, take a shot, whatever, every time they say thunder,
Oh,
which is a lot.
a lot.
Yeah, they say it a lot.
Spoiler alert, a lot of thunders in
Yeah,
Thunderstruck.
There's a lot of thunders, like in the first 45 seconds. Ton of thunder. All right, Taman's bringing the thunder for Valid or Void. We do this each week. Taman has a bunch of topics. These are just blanket statements, and we will say valid or void them. Taman, what is the topic? And then, Ari, you can have the floor.
All right, guys. Topic numero uno. We're going to start on the softball diamond. So, valid or void, Texas Tech will win the Big 12 softball tournament.
Valid.
Very valid. Yeah, very valid. Quite valid. They outscored teams 26-0 last year. Nobody scored a run, and their pitching is better. Nyjah was just the number 2 overall pick in the softball, what is going to be, and even though it's early, just established, the AUSL is a professional softball league, and I think it's going to continue to blossom. She was the number 2 overall pick. She is David Bailey.
Who is number 1?
It's a great question. I meant to ask Nate.
Yeah. Seems
But
bizarre that anybody would go ahead of her, but here we are.
totally agree. And then you have Terry, like the second arm,
Caitlin Terry, yep.
on paper has been as dominant. I mean, their stats are splitting hairs. Nobody's touching Texas Tech.
Well, and Nyjah just had her first perfect game on senior night, so not a bad showing in your final home game.
Just a casual perfect game.
Just a casual perfect game.
By the way,
5 no-hitters in her career.
the number 1 overall pick was Carlin Pickens from Tennessee. Pitcher.
I'd take Nyjah.
I'm going to go with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has more to do with regionality. Do you know who took them? Nashville, something or other.
Not
Knoxville.
The Carolina Blaze.
There you go.
Yeah. Tennessee, Carolina.
Tennessee, Carolina, same difference.
Yeah.
Texas had the second overall pick, by the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Won't say it's rigged, but
Topic number 2. This should be interesting for
Anthony
Mr.
Smith is a big AUSL softball fan, as we're just learning.
Yes, he sent us a lot of text right there. Thank you, Anthony.
did he?
Big softball guy.
Valid or void? I can't wait to hear Mr. Temkin's thoughts. So Kansas baseball, who's doing phenomenal, they will not lose another game in the regular season. Valid or void?
Kansas baseball will go undefeated the rest of the way.
Undefeated the rest of the way.
No, they'll lose a game. It's very hard to sweep an opponent in Big 12 baseball. Kansas is really good. Like, I'm not trying to take away from their season.
Oh, you are. You're diminishing everything.
Overrated. No, they're not.
They're not going to lose another. They're not going to lose a game. Come on.
They play West Virginia this weekend.
Yeah, they do.
West Virginia's pretty good. They're 18th in the country. They're 31-12. They're 16-8 in the Big 12, and they're second in the league. It's a 3-game series. KU can win the series and still drop a game. West Virginia is tied for last in the Big 12 in home runs. They only have 26. There's a massive gap in how these teams play. West Virginia's more elite pitching, small ball, really crisp. KU's got 4 guys that would be the leading batter for West Virginia. They just crank them. Now, I know it's in Lawrence, but I still think West Virginia steals a game, but KU takes the series.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas has both West Virginia and Arizona State left, and those are the 2 best teams in the Big 12 opposite Kansas. So, yeah, I will void this as well. Kansas will definitely lose a game throughout the rest of this season, but the 36-11, 19-4 Big 12 play, They are 11 at home in conference, and they've won 7 straight conference series for the first time in program history. In fact, they've won 21 of their last 22 and 27 of their last 30. They're rolling right now.
How many of their last 30?
27 of 30.
Oof.
Heater. I think it's not football, and we'll see how this thing finishes, but there is some Kurt Signetti to Dan Fitzgerald. I mean, what he's doing and how he's gotten these players to play at this level consistently has a very untraditional baseball program at the pinnacle right now. I think this team is very much national championship contender.
Man, they've got some sick jerseys.
You joining me in Omaha?
Huge fan of their uniform
You
collection.
come with me to Omaha?
Omaha? KU's going to be in Omaha.
I've got 2 KU baseball trips tentatively planned.
Have you been to Omaha for the College World Series?
No. Kansas has been there once. It was in 1993. I was 8 years old.
I guess it would be quite a hike from here. I've been. It's cool.
No, I said I'm going if Kansas gets there.
Yeah, it's cool.
And if Kansas is hosting a regional at the Hoagland Ballpark, I'm going as well.
Yeah. Arkansas.
Save me a seat to go choke the hog with the rest of the students. That's what they say.
Like it.
I don't know if there's a double meaning or something there, but
What's KU's, overall, what's their story? Did they bring in a bunch of transfers or a lot of returners from last year? How has he done this?
where did Dan Fitzgerald come from
LSU,
before then?
Dallas Baptist,
Before then?
Des Moines Community College,
Ding, ding, ding.
Des Moines CC.
JUCO.
Wow,
JUCO is how they've built this thing.
that's a market inefficiency.
Yeah, 100%. So in the same way that Signetti found the right mix in players, Fitzgerald has done the same thing.
How impressed were you that I knew his last 3 previous?
That was amazing.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page there in terms of awesomeness.
I'm not sure you know that much about Pete Hughes.
Came from Oklahoma.
Before that,
Kansas Wesleyan. I made that up.
Wow.
sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds believable. For the record, though, Kansas will play West Virginia in Lawrence, where they are tough to beat.
But then they have Arizona State, yes?
Yeah, let me pull that back up.
Yeah, they're pretty good too.
No, they play at Creighton tonight. Then they play West Virginia, and then they play at BYU.
BYU. I thought it was Arizona State.
BYU's had an uptick this year,
Yep.
much improved.
Yes.
I mean, they're going to lose a game somewhere.
Okay.
They could go 6-1.
I mean, I just voided it too, so I don't know why I'm trying to pick a fight
Challenging.
here.
We're fighting now.
All right, next topic. So I'm sure you guys have heard Texas Tech has had some quarterback issues. So topic number 3, Texas Tech will finish top 10 in rushing in the nation. I mean, considering Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams are going to be running that rock. Valid or void?
Wait. Okay, top 10 rushing offense.
Yes, in the nation.
I misread it. I did rushing defense. You've got the lead on this one.
Yeah, I'll validate this. What's interesting is I'd argue they'd be top 5 if Sorsby were playing. And look, I do think I'm now more confident that Sorsby will play this year than I've been over the last week.
Really?
But I still think even if they've got Will Hammond playing the majority of the season, that this is going to be a robust rushing offense with a 3-headed monster of Joyner, Williams, and Dickey. They're going to be able to pick up right where they left off last year. And Joyner didn't even get into the party, and he was the guy that was expected to be the top dog rushing the football. So I think they're going to have a more explosive passing offense, which will be conducive to their rush offense. I think they will have a top 10 rush offense. Can you do it? Can you answer having not prepped for the offense?
Can I answer? Come on. Yes, I will validate this. Because of the uptick on the offensive line, Howard Sampson is back, their left tackle. Hunter Zambrano's back, their left guard. They've got an all Big 12 center, Sheridan Wilson, coming back. They add a top 5 newcomer on the offensive line, Jordan Church from Louisville, bless you. And their right tackle, Jacob Ponton, is back.
They also added a 5-star in Felix Ojo who could start right away.
That's it. So they've got 6 legitimate all Big 12 offensive linemen paving the way.
How many of those make our list tomorrow?
Several, I would imagine. So with or without Sorsby, if they have kitty gloves on Will Hammond, they're scared to run them, I don't think it matters. Cameron Dickey, Quentin Joyner, the USC 4-star transfer, and Jacoby Williams is super underrated as a rusher. Very quick, shifty, only about 5'9", but low center of gravity. And then I think Dickey, with less carries, does more damage. I think his yards per carry is up, and they're so much more explosive at receiver. So I'll go top 10, yeah.
I validate it.
What'd they finish last year?
Good question.
That is a good question. Have to
Everybody, quick to the keyboard.
Yeah, right. Huh.
Okay,
All right.
next question.
Next question. All right. So Drew Mestemaker, you guys have heard of that guy. He's pretty good. He's going to lead the nation in passing yards next season. Valid or void?
Lead the nation?
Yes.
Valid.
Nation.
He just led the nation this past year in the same exact offense, same system, different athletes, yes.
Different opponents.
Different opponents, very much yes. But I think the chemistry between Mestemaker, his coach Eric Morris, his receivers Wyatt Young and Miles Coleman are joining him. Plus they've added Illinois' best receiver in the portal, his running back Caleb Hawkins, who's super dangerous as a pass catcher. Yeah, Mestemaker will throw for 4,000 again. And the gap between him and everybody else this past season wasn't even close. So Josh Hoover, I would think, will probably be up there. There's some other spread-style quarterbacks. Dante Moore at Oregon will probably be up there. But I think Mestemaker blows him away.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid this. I mean, go back and look. From my memory, the nation's leader in passing yards has traditionally come from Group of 5 programs. And I think part of that is because you're able to feast on some of the bottom feeders on your schedule. And there just aren't very many bottom feeders. In fact, one of the bottom feeders, Drew Mestemaker, is now the quarterback of. I think like Ohio State's quarterback is going to be very good this year. I certainly think Mestemaker will be up there, but I think the passing leader in college football, like it has the last few years, correct me if I'm wrong here, will be a Group of 5 quarterback.
I will correct you.
Okay.
Number 2 last year behind Mestemaker was Darian Mensah at Duke. Number 3 was Chambliss at Ole Miss. Number 4 was the quarterback at USC. Sawyer Robertson was number 5 from Baylor. And Kevin Jennings at SMU was number 6.
But who was number 1?
Mestemaker.
Okay, then we'll go back to 2024. If you can easily do that. Usually there's a drop down that gives you the years.
No, it doesn't. Not on the NCAA website. Super annoying.
Yeah, that would be a little bit too easy, wouldn't it?
Right? It would.
Why would they want it to be easy?
That's so stupid.
Yeah. My guess is in 2024 it was as well a Group of 5 quarterback.
The nation's leader. I should have just collegefootballreference.com.
Come on.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Kyle McCord, Syracuse.
Oh.
Led the nation in passing. Cam Ward was number 2. Jackson Dart was number 3. Shedeur Sanders was number 4.
Okay. All right.
They make it. So 2023, you want to dabble there? Michael Penix Jr., Washington. Bo Nix, Oregon.
Okay.
Number 2.
All right.
Perfect.
So I was wrong.
2022, though. 2022.
I always feel like there's a quarterback that's leading the nation in passing. It's like I've never heard of this guy.
Austin Reed, 2022, Western Kentucky. Now, the guy that
Every year.
every year.
Except for the years it's not.
The guy that I think could challenge Mestemaker is the kid at FAU. Westcamp, who is at Western Kentucky, and then he transferred to FAU where Zach Kitley is the head coach. They throw the ball all over the yard. And
Florida Atlantic's going to be good this year.
I know. He was 6th, by the way, in the country. So I did the top 5 because number 6 would have validated your point.
All right. Final topic. So ESPN's Jeff Borzello made a way too early power rankings for next year's basketball season. So he only has 3 Big 12 teams in the top 25. So is he correct, valid, or void?
All right.
I feel like way too early has jumped the shark here. Not everything is way too early. Like these way too early top 25s in football, like it's not that early. It's not too early. Way too early is in February or January. May is not too early. It's right on time.
especially for football.
I'm just sick and tired of these way too early lists. It's not way too early. It's not always way too early. At some point, you're on time.
What about for basketball? Is it way too early for basketball?
Yes. No. We know what rosters are going to look like, do we not?
Not really. Not all of them.
Well, it was way too early after the Final Four when we had no idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now it's too early. Not way too early, just too early.
It's too early.
Get us to June and we're on time.
It's a little early. Yeah. 3's way too few. I think any of the top 6 teams in the Big 12 could be in the top 25. Is Texas Tech one of the 3?
No.
Is Kansas one of the 3?
No.
Who are the 3? Arizona, Houston, Iowa State?
Arizona is number 10. Houston is number 12. And Iowa State is number 18.
It's way too low for Houston and Iowa State. I would add TCU will be a top 25 team.
TCU, 100%. That was the first team I thought of, even before Kansas, is a team that should be on this list.
KU just got the number 1 player in the country. Is this a month old? When did he do this?
This was made last week.
Was this pre-Tyron Stokes?
I think this was the day Tyron Stokes signed, committed.
Has to be pre-Tyron Stokes. Has to be. No way an ESPN college basketball writer is not going to have Kansas with the number 1 player in the country outside of their top 25. Right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think their roster is better this year than it was last year, but I love it. The 2 years before that, Kansas was was number 1 on the preseason poll, so I prefer this over the other. So Borzello's got Arizona at 5.
No, at 10.
I'm looking at it right now.
Down from 5.
This is from April 6th, 2026. Okay, so this is not the most way too early recent one. I got to find the next one. Got it. 10 is the highest? Is that what it is?
Yeah. 1 team in the top 10.
Houston Tech, Arizona, Kansas, TCU,
Iowa State. 6 teams should be in the way too early top 25.
Yeah.
This is a joke. Make it make sense, Taman.
Yeah.
I'll try. I got you.
All right, we'll ask Chandler Johnson if it makes sense. Big 12 analyst and content creator.
Chancellor.
Covering.
Yeah, you call him Chandler.
What did I call him?
Chandler.
No.
It's not friends.
I don't believe
James.
so. I didn't say that.
I wouldn't have stopped you if the word's so egregious.
No, I didn't say that. There's no way. Chancellor. I didn't say Chandler. Chancellor. Chancellor Johnson. That's my new move now. Just nope.
Nope. That did not happen.
Gaslighting. I'm all in.
Yep.
Coming up next, Chancellor Johnson. He's putting together the Film Don't Lie 2026 NBA Draft Series preview. We'll touch on that. Can A.J. Bonsa and Darren Peterson save the NBA? It's Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo here on TuneIn.
Behind the sticks again. This one's picked off. Intercepted by Purnell. Des Purnell, a touchdown.
What an incredible play by Purnell yet again.
The game at the tailback. Blitz coming. Daniels fumbles. A 4th down takeaway for Kansas State. Malcolm Alcorn Crowder. Pick play in the middle that turns a defender loose. Big strong receiver to make those throws. Hit for Kansas State. Purnell and Romaine together. Purnell was first. Romaine second.
Hoover, tip ball. It's intercepted by Purnell. Des Purnell, his second of the day.
Purnell with another interception, and he tries to get to the end zone again.
Going to see Purnell here and Romaine here. Watch how they both shoot this B-gap and make it a living hell for both the guard and the running back.
It's the final possession.
Hoover running out of time, and down he goes.
Big 12 Today here on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios. He's Ari, I'm James. We welcome in Chancellor Johnson, Big 12 analyst and content creator. And Chancellor is working on an NBA draft series, Film Don't Lie, previewing the upcoming NBA draft. So, Chancellor, we have a little preview snippet that we can play here on TuneIn and Big 12 Studios before we get to just what goes into this.
Yeah, man. First of all, thanks for having me, guys. Always great chatting with you. For me, man, I've been doing this since I was in college. I went to Arizona State, a Big 12 school, and so for me to be able to continue this, especially on a level like this, it's been really awesome. So for the segment itself, it's an opportunity for me to sit down with players and have them break down their own game, right? There's all these different scouts and all these different commentators and analysis, people like you and me who always have these different critiques and these the feedback on these players' games, but how about hearing it from them themselves? And so an opportunity to do that with 6 of the projected top 10 picks in the draft. That includes 3 guys in the Big 12, maybe more coming. That includes Kingston Flemings, Darren Peterson, and AJ DeBonsa in this clip that you'll see here. We talked about a bunch, and we'll get into that here in a bit, but certainly an awesome opportunity to sit down with them and have that conversation.
Yeah, I made that way more confusing than it should have been, Chancellor. I apologize. Now let's play the snippet of Film Don't Lie.
He is so skilled. And that shooting touch from a guy who's top 5 in the country in assists per game. Now DeBonsa working his way closer to the basket. Turnaround, tough to stop. He hits it, plus a foul.
Now, they say that mid-range is dead. How have you been able to make a living off of this here?
It really started in high school because I just watched too much NBA basketball, and my favorite players all used the mid-range, so I just wanted to be like them. But
Which were who?
Kevin Durant was my favorite. Shea, I'm watching a lot now. He does it. And, you know, I didn't realize why they were doing it. I just wanted to shoot mid-range. I thought it was cool. But by the time I got to college, I realized how packed the paint was. I realized that, you know, there'd be a lot of gaps, so you would have to shoot these middies to be able to get your shot off.
So because Kelvin Sampson said, hey, listen, you know, wherever he's mocked at, what's going to end up happening is Kingston Flemings is going to sit down in front of these scouts, in front of these front office executives, and they're going to sit down with him, and they're going to be blown away when they learn about his IQ and they hear from him and the type of leader that he is. And to be able to sit down with him and have him break down his own game, you can tell that he's a film junkie, and his ability to, he's so mature for his age, right? You know, and all these guys are, but, you know, for him to be a freshman and come out and lead, you know, and be the point guard of a Kelvin Sampson team, that says a lot. We dove into that. We talked about his matchup against another guy who's arguably, the PG1 in the NBA draft, and Darius Acuff. It was a great conversation about that and their head-to-head matchups. Then AJ DeBonsa, the guy who's projected to be the #1 overall pick. For me, it was like, listen, we watched so much of him. It was just really cool to be able to get inside of his brain and how he sees the game. How many times have we talked about this season? I'm pretty sure we've had conversations about AJ DeBonsa and his game in the mid-range. It's kind of that throwback, playing style. And so, to me, I've always said it feels like when he gets 2 feet in the paint, it's a bucket. And sure enough, I was like, hey, talk to me about it. And sure enough, as he mentioned, right, he used to watch, Kevin Durant. He used to watch, or he still watches Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it shows in his game. And then Darren Peterson, the guy who seems to be a little bit more of the enigma of the draft. Super, super talented, but obviously he had a really, let's say, interesting year with him missing so many games, and people were, didn't know what was going on with him, and we talked about it. And there was actually a moment in the interview, in our conversation, where we talked about his matchup versus AJ DeBonsa, and he made, if you remember, he dunked on somebody so bad. He dunked on Kiba Keita from BYU, and he looked at me and said, that's when they said I didn't care about basketball, so it meant something to him. And so it's little stuff like that where when people watch this, they get that opportunity to hear from the guys themselves and be able to put their own journey and their own story into words. I think it's something that people will really be able to appreciate.
Who's the first pick in your mind? Who should be the first pick? Who would you take if you were to be a team with the first pick?
To me, it's AJ DeBonsa. Listen, I watched him just like you guys did all season long, and his ability to score in bunches. I actually saw him to become a leader with this BYU team once Richie Saunders got out. And then just, you can't teach that size and athleticism. And if I have the #1 pick, right, I'm handing that pick into Adam Silver, and I'm sleeping very, very well because I know that I'm going to have an all-star caliber player in AJ Debonsa for a really, really long time. Now, it might get a little tricky if you have another guy there who might be able to do similar things as him, but it's not too many guys who can do that in the AJ Debonsa with that combination of size, skill, and athleticism. Once again, you can't teach that, especially in the modern NBA where you have, you're looking for those wings who can shoot it, who can put the ball on the floor, who can defend. And AJ Debonsa has shown a little bit of all of that. Obviously there's some other guys even outside the Big 12, but we won't get into that because this is, a Big 12 show, of course. And so to me, I'd go AJ Debonsa with the number 1 overall pick.
Chancellor Johnson, Big 12 analyst and content creator working on Film Don't Lie, a 2026 NBA Draft Series preview. Debonsa led the nation in scoring, 25.5 points per game this past year. Do you think he'll average more or less in his rookie season in the NBA?
Oh, it's going to be less. As great as AJ is, I have a hard time believing. Oh, not a hard time believing. Maybe that's not fair because he is so skilled. But 25 is a lot, especially when you get to the league. I'd have to go back and see what Cooper Flagg was able to average this season. I know he had obviously, winning Rookie of the Year. He had a phenomenal year. But, depending on where he ends up at, scheme and fit is a big deal. Will he have another, all-star around him? Dallas could get the number 1 overall pick. Would they be interested in pairing him with the Cooper Flagg, right? I see, Tavy back there. He gave a fist pump. You would love to see something like that. Maybe the Pacers. What would he look like besides a Tyrese Halliburton? That's a guy who could certainly feed him and give him the rock and be able to set him up like that. But I think scheme and fit certainly matters. But by year 2, I could certainly see it for sure. With once again how talented of a player that AJ Debonsa is.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg was at 21 points per game.
Yeah. 25 was a lot.
Yeah, Blake Griffin, his rookie year, averaged 22. Carmelo, 21. Tim Duncan, 21. David Robinson, 24. Just going back and looking at some of these. So 25 is a lot. But maybe he is that unique of a player. How many Big 12 players do you think end up in the top 10?
Ooh, let's see here. Kingston, Darren, AJ. Could Braden Burries get into that mix, especially with the year that he had and his ability to play, especially in that second half of the season, how you really turn it on. I think he's another guy that guys will, that the teams will really fall in love with once they get in front of him. He's got nice size, can clearly shoot it, shows competitiveness on the defensive end as well. I can see him being in it. Throw some more names at me. Who are some other projected guys? I want to make sure I don't miss anybody from the top 10. I'm trying to think who else who could be in that mix. But to me, obviously, you have the least the 3 for sure. And then, like I said, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, too.
Cameron Carr is projected to be top 15, top 20. Chris Sanak would be another one.
I think Sanak and Carr go outside the top 10. I mean, there's just so much talent, all the way around. I don't think Sanak will be there, but Sanak's going to be a really good player that guys, the teams will fall in love with as well, especially with the year he had as far as buying into his role under Kelvin Sampson. And then you look around, look, if I'm a GM or a scout, I'm looking at Jamal Shead, who fell to the second round and made an immediate impact his rookie season and made winning plays and started in his second season for the Toronto Raptors, in the playoffs. It made, as I mentioned, winning plays. We saw what happened, what was in Game 3 for the Toronto Raptors. I'm looking at, Quentin Grimes, who's made an impact in the league. So clearly there is a, when you come through, this Houston Cougar program, you're going to get winning players. And of course, as I mentioned, Kingston Fleming is going to go top 10. I think it's a possibility he goes top 5 as well. And so I'm buying any stock in any guy that goes through, this Houston Cougar and Kelvin Sampson program.
By the way, the last rookie to average at least 25 points a game, you guys want to take a stab at who that was?
Last rookie, Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson was at 23.5 points a game.
Okay.
It wasn't
Before
MJ.
Allen.
It was not MJ. Or was it?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Wow.
28 points a game. No rookie has gotten to 25 since then. David Robinson was closest to 24.3.
I wonder where LeBron averaged when he first came in the league.
20.9.
Wow.
Kobe averaged 7.6.
That just goes to show you how difficult it is to score. in this league, especially when you first come into it. And if you look at even Cooper Flagg had a little bit of a slower start before he really started turning on. But I remember like there were some things like, oh, what's going on with Cooper to begin the season, and then he went out and dropped 50 on guys. But so
even
as far
Shaq only averaged 23 points a game his rookie year.
Only that's crazy.
Yeah, Ralph Sampson at 21, Hakeem at 21, MJ at 28.
I think AJ can do it.
Well, let me ask you this: who scores more in their rookie season, AJ or Darren?
AJ.
I wouldn't be surprised if look with Darren and his shooting. David's shaking his head. He's not buying it. Look, we know he can fill it up as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
We saw what Darren Pearson was capable of. So I wouldn't be so sure, but obviously such unique and talented players in this upcoming draft.
He's perfect for the Mavs.
Let's see. Cooper Flagg.
42 games played. Perfect. Sign you up.
So Cooper Flagg averaged 19 points per game in college. He averaged 21 this season in the NBA. So the reason I asked is we haven't seen like a one-and-done score at this clip in a really long time. I think Kevin Durant was kind of around those type of numbers. Maybe Michael Beasley in that same era.
Durant averaged 20 points a game his rookie year.
His rookie year, he averaged 20.
Most of these guys are around 20.
Yeah.
I just don't know if AJ DeBonce is walking into the league and being a top. That's probably what a top 5 or at least top 7 scorer in the league. I don't know if he'll get there. The one thing I will say with DeBonce that does help him in his case is that he gets to the free throw line. Yeah. And that's something that a lot of players have to kind of learn to do, but he's already has that in his bag. And so, even though he's not necessarily shooting a bunch of threes, he certainly can knock it down. I imagine his usage from beyond the 3-point line will go up as well. The combination of between his ability to shoot the three and the free throws, I think could help him certainly, fill it up sooner rather than later in his rookie season.
So 13 players this year in the NBA averaged 25 or more points.
Okay.
13, quite a few. What about Koa Pete and Christian Anderson? I saw Anderson got an invite to the Combine. What do you think their future looks like?
I'm really high on Christian Anderson, especially with the way, to me, he was the best pick and roll player in the country, especially when you match him up with, of course, earlier in the season before JT Toppin got hurt, they were the best duo in the country. And for Christian Anderson, he's just so crafty in his ability to, get downhill, his ability to pull up. You better not go under Christian Anderson. You better not. That's the recipe for disaster. And his ability to find, his teammates. And if I'm a scout, I look at, putting a shooter right next to him. When you look at Donovan Atwell, and how he elevated Atwell's game and his gravity, what he was able to do with JT Toppin. So if I have, a talented big man, who sets good screens, I would want to pair a guy like Christian Anderson with him. And so, it's really easy to see a little Damian, not even a little, it's easy to see Damian Lillard in his game. I'm not saying he's going to be Damian Lillard, but it's, his ability to, on the offensive end, certainly kind of shows that. And then as far as Koa Pete, I am interested to see if Koa Pete does, he's clearly going to explore it, but if there's any interest in maybe him, going to the draft or going to the Combine at least, and he has the ability to come back. Like, is that on the table for Arizona? Because I think another year could do him some good to continue to develop his skill set. But listen, money talks, and if he's going to be, top 15, which, he's projected to be, I understand him moving on. But, he's a really talented player. My question is, what does he do best that'll really transfer, up to the next level? And so I think, another year in Arizona could help kind of flesh that out. But certainly a talented player that's going to help any team, in this league. But I'm super excited to see both of them as well. You also have, Tune Yesufu from originally who transferred out from Baylor, who, is another guy who's entering his name into the draft as well. So see some of those guys, outside of the, the top 3 in Kingston Flemings, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonce, I'm interested to see how their projection continues to go out as we get through this next month or so heading into the NBA draft.
Yeah, I could see some Damian Lillard and Christian Anderson. Needs to add about 20 pounds, but it's there. I love it. Chancellor Johnson, Film Don't Lie, is his 2026 NBA Draft Series. Joining us here on Big 12 today. Chancellor, great to catch up, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Big 12 analyst and content creator, Chancellor Johnson, joining us here on Big 12 today. That will also be our interview of the day, which you can catch at 2:45 Eastern Time, and then again at 4:45, part of our Big 12 Power Hour, which starts each and every weekday at 2 Eastern, 1 Central this afternoon. He's Ari, I'm James. Let's continue the draft discussion between A.J. DeBonce, Darren Peterson, also the Big 12. this isn't an outlier year in terms of NBA draft and just how many Big 12 players are going to be in it year over year when we look at 27. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo.
2025 calendar. Dean Connors with the handoff. Connors breaks free again. Dean Connors against his former squad with his second touchdown of the night.
And maybe get a little overzealous and leave some room for Connor Williams. Fakes the QB draw. Oh, what a catch! Are you kidding me? Dean Connors stabs it with one hand. But the individual effort from Connors to get a hand on that one and bring it in, that's the kind of play that gets the sideline juiced.
TCU stacks the eggs, and look at Dean Connors go. Dino on the go.
They've been on the field for a while. They want to stay on the field offensively. Whitman to throw. Connors.
Oh my God.
He's got it. Trumped him. Room to run. Connors tripped up at the 10-yard line.
The rest is all the big 4-4. Dean Connors up the sideline. Really knows Willie Fritz wins games. Here's a huge run, and there goes Dean Connors. And that is a 36-yard gain for Connors.
Back here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. exclusively on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios. He is Ari Timkett on social at Ari Sports. That's ARI Sports. I'm James Westling on social at James Westling. Don't miss our Big 12 Power Hour. We replay part of our newcomer series, the top 5 newcomers in the Big 12 at various position groups. Today we highlight the cornerback position. That's at 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time. Wall-to-wall coverage here on Big 12 Radio. Fran Fraschilla, ESPN college basketball analyst, will be with us in about 20 minutes. But Chancellor Johnson, who just joined us, is putting together Film Don't Lie, a 2026 NBA Draft Series preview. And the NBA, people are watching the playoffs. The viewership numbers are the most they've been in like the last 2 decades. But they're watching.
Again, important to note that the ratings are new. It's a new system this year, so those are going to be inflated. But
asterisks.
Yeah.
Very much so.
It'll be good to see like next year, the next 5 years, what these numbers look like because it's apples to apples. This is apples to oranges right now.
The scoring in this year's NBA playoffs, on pace for the most dramatic drop ever. Down 9.1 points per game going into the final day of the first round, which now the second round matchups are set with the Thunder and the Lakers in the West, the Timberwolves and the Spurs, and then in the East, the Pistons came back, the Pistons and the Cavs, and then the Knicks and the 7 seed, VJ Edgecombe, 76ers, will play in the East, but the scoring is way down. Teams have been stuck below 100 points in 29% of their playoff games. That's up from just 11% during the regular season, and teams are averaging 8.1 fewer points in the playoffs than the regular season. It's the second largest decline this century from the regular season to the playoffs. So if the NBA has a scoring problem, is the solution this elite draft class with A.J. Bonsa, Darren Peterson, so many other Big 12 players?
Does the NBA have a scoring problem?
It's hard to say with the viewership asterisks that we just talked about. How many people are actually watching? Are more people tuning out because of the lack of scoring versus the regular season?
See, I think it's the opposite. I think more people are engaged because scoring is down, not necessarily because of that, but because they see teams that are playing harder, that are playing better defense, that are playing a more fun brand of basketball. I don't think people want to tune in and watch 136 to 125. I think the drop, which is significant of note, has a lot more to do with circumstance than anything else. I mean, we spent the entire year talking about how many teams were tanking, and just how active the tanking was. So I think you just had a lot of teams that had overinflated scores because you had teams that were not fielding legitimate NBA teams, and a higher percentage of them. There were more teams trying actively not to win games based on their roster construction than ever before. So to me, it's a pretty obvious circumstantial piece. In covering the NBA, like the one thing you see during the regular season, teams just fly into a city, have a shoot around, they play a game. They fly out, they fly home, they might have a practice, then they have a shoot around, they have another game. They're not preparing for the opposing teams. That's what the playoffs is for. That's why the playoffs and the regular season are two totally different animals. Because in the playoffs, teams are actively game planning to stop what you do. In the regular season, that's not the case. So and I think this is why, in many ways, inexperienced teams don't go far in the playoffs, because they have to go through the motions to understand this. So if you have success against one team in the regular season, and you've seen this before, where, this team beat them 3 out of 4 times, and then they lose in the playoffs, it's because they weren't preparing for you in the same way that they are in the postseason. So I think those two factors play into this. Scoring is always going to be down to the playoffs relative to the regular season because, again, teams are not game planning throughout the regular season. There's tons of games. They play so often. They're barely practicing during the week. Most of the practice they get in is in shoot-arounds. So once you get into postseason play, that's when they're really digging into the film, taking a look. Most of the film watching that teams do in the regular season is on us. What do we do? What do we need to improve on? What do our lineups look like? Where do we get more efficient? In the postseason, it's more about them. So I think that's what leads to scoring getting down, and I think it's circumstantial this year more so than other years, as you alluded to, because Well, there's just a lot of bad teams that were actively trying to lose games to get to the top of the draft.
Dude,
We're about to find out who the big winners are.
that totally makes sense because if you're tanking, and my mind immediately went to the tanking, but without a scouting report, that just adds to it. If you're tanking and you're a player and you're on the floor, are you going to give up a basket or are you more likely to miss a shot on purpose? You're way more likely to just stop playing defense. So the scoring in the regular season naturally is going to be up because nobody's playing any defense.
Right.
Just
exactly
letting
right.
the other team score.
And I'd even argue further that all those guys care about is getting theirs. Right? Defensive metrics don't stand up when you're on a bad team. Offensive metrics do. How many points did you score? What was your shooting percentage? What did you do from three? How, where are your cold areas? Where are your hot areas? The defensive side, like if you're an evaluator and you're looking for talent, you might diminish what they did on the defensive end due to a bad team and having bad systems in place.
Right. Teams are going to say, okay, well, they're not playing any defense. Well, the entire team is tanking. But can they shoot the ball? If they can shoot, maybe they have a chance to make another roster. Also, these were the numbers going into the last day of the first round. The last day of the first round, Detroit scored 116, Cleveland scored 114, and the other Game 7, the 76ers scored 109. So all three of the winning teams scored over 100, which is the benchmark they're using, and even two of the three losing teams scored over 100. So I think collectively this is very much overblown. Teams are still scoring the basketball, but the defensive aspect of it and what you were saying about the lack of scouting report during the regular season makes complete sense.
I also think, as much as I talk about the overinflated ratings, this is going to be a very highly rated postseason. First off, so you've got great regional rivalries on the East in the Eastern Conference. So you got Detroit and Cleveland. These are two teams historically that have had some incredible battles. They've been in the same division for years. And the other side of the bracket is the Knicks and 76ers. Another, Philadelphia versus New York. This on the heels of Boston versus Philadelphia. And the Knicks and Hawks have had some really good matchups over the years. So I think, like, from the Eastern Conference standpoint, the games and the series are going to be incredible, and they're going to be very highly watched because you've got big fan bases and regional rivalries. And then you've got, like, the defending champs against the Lakers, which will draw a huge audience. And then T-Wolves and Spurs, I think, will too, because they've got, the Spurs obviously with Wemby and the T-Wolves with Edwards. Like, those are two of the best young stars in the league. So I think all four of these series that are left are all very intriguing from a television watching perspective.
Yeah, I would say, like, if I had to pick a favorite, I would lean Timberwolves Spurs for the reasons you just laid out. Wemby, his really first taste of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
as
his
a
first taste.
Seed.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, who have been right there the last two seasons.
And, like, going back, Spurs and T-Wolves have had some epic series between Garnett and Duncan. So, like, Cassell, I remember some series with Sam Cassell and Kevin Garnett against the Spurs when we were in college that were epic series. So, yeah, I mean, I think those are great. I mean, I'm excited to watch Knicks and 76ers. It's funny. I usually really hate all New York teams just as a rule, especially growing up in Chicago, being a Chicago sports fan. But I've become a Knicks fan because they've just been so dreadful for so long, and they finally have, like, a fun team that's easy to root for, that tries hard, and, like, just as a bunch of guys that you like. And then with VJ Edgecombe, what he's doing, and then Joel Embiid, it's almost like a Big 12 All-Star team with the 76ers. So
Yeah.
I'm most intrigued by that series.
I haven't liked the Knicks since I think they were an 8 seed back in, like, the early 2000s.
1999.
1999.
Yeah, and they lost to the Spurs. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they get all the way to the finals?
If that's the team you're talking about, yes. Spurs beat the Knicks that year. I believe they were an 8 seed.
With Latrell Sprewell,
Allen
Charles
Houston.
Oakley, Allen Houston.
I don't think Oakley was on that team. Could be wrong, though.
Maybe it was towards the tail end of his career. But the Big 12, in terms of, like, draft outlook and Big 12 stars in the playoffs, the league isn't going anywhere. Love this note you shared with us yesterday that the Big 12 now has 4 of the top 7 prospects for the 2026-27 season. 4 of the top 7, highlighted by Tyron Stokes at number 1. This is Rivals, top 150. Caleb Holt at number 3, Arizona. Bruce Branch III at number 5, and Dylan Mingo at number 7. So 4 of the top 7 players, incoming freshmen, will be part of the Big 12, fresh off a year in which we had like 4 of the top 10. Also, 2027 weight, now this is a way too early, mock draft. In the top 8 picks, 2 international prospects. So 6 players that are going to be playing college basketball this season. 4 of them are from the Big 12.
Wow. So Rivals Hoops, different from 24/7. 24/7 does the composite between all of the online publications. Rivals, though, released, and I think for Hoops, like Rivals has been the best. They released their final rankings yesterday, which is why this comes up. And yeah, so 4 of the top 7, including Branch, who moved up, I think, in Rivals from 4 or 5 to 2 behind Tyron Stokes. So, I mean, they have 4 of the top 7, but the top 2 players. And who's the kid for BYU? I think he's 4th.
Bruce Branch.
Yeah, 3 of the top 4. Sorry, I said Branch for Arizona. Who's
Caleb Holt.
Thank you, Holt. Steve Holt. Caleb Holt at number 2, and then Branch at number 4, I believe. So, yeah, 3 of the top 4.
Terrence Holt? Love it. So 7 out of the 27 5-stars in the class of 2026 this past year pledged to Big 12 schools, right? So the Big 12 had 26% of the 5-star college basketball players, according to Rivals. This year, that number is 10 of the 27. No, I'm sorry. This year, 7 out of the 27. Last year was 10, I should say.
Let me ask you something. Is it the right approach for the Big 12? So I think there's a strategic element to this. Not to say that the Big 12 is better at recruiting, freshman talent, but I think you have a philosophy that maybe differs from some of the other parts of the country where they're maybe going all in on the portal. You look at Kansas. Kansas, went all in on the portal and really rejected or neglected high school recruiting. Well, the last 2 years, they've obviously been all in, and it shows. And some of this is based upon budgets, right? How much are you spending for high school recruiting? How much are you spending on the portal, right? So some programs are making strategic decisions here on, am I going to go hot and heavy in the portal? Am I going to go hot and heavy in high school recruiting? Am I going to try to do both? Is it the right approach for the Big 12?
I say yes.
Why?
Because of the NBA pipeline and just you have to go get the best talent however you can do it, whichever way you're going to slice it. And there are experienced teams that are winning national championships. Michigan, transfer portal, a bunch of older dudes. Year before that, Houston and Florida in the national championship, 2 really experienced rosters. But the teams that seem to kind of lean into freshmen have been really close. Duke with Cooper Flagg. That team was entirely built. They didn't play the portal at all. Like outside of Flagg, the guys around him were all guys that had developed from within, including a fellow freshman that started. UConn with Mullins this past season, one of their leading scorers. Now Illinois with Keaton Wagler, another team that was really close in the Final Four. So I think in terms of maybe getting over the hump, yeah, the experienced teams and the older teams are winning national championships in this new era. But the teams that lean into the freshmen are still getting really close.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
We have seen it. It does happen. It probably happens less often than the others. I would agree with you. And, I could counter my own argument, which I will in a moment. But the eyeballs are on the Big 12. And the more stud freshmen you have, the more the eyeballs are on the Big 12. And the scouts are watching the Big 12. The scouts are going to Big 12 games. That will naturally bring in more players that want to play more often in front of national scouts. Now, the counter to that is you play in the Final Four, you're going to be playing in front of a lot of people in national scouts, right? So, but I'm just saying on a more consistent basis, I think the Big 12 is taking the right approach here because, you've got 3 programs in particular that are consistent. 4, Arizona, Kansas, Houston, and BYU, consistently recruiting top 10, top 5 type talents. Baylor, too. It's hard to argue against that. VG Edgecombe. Yesufu. The kid before Edgecombe. Same thing. They've had one-and-done guys. His name's on the tip of my tongue.
George? Jacoby Walter.
Keontae George and Jacoby Walter. Thank you. Keontae George and Jacoby Walter. Right, so there's a history here. So there's a group of teams. We just named 5 different teams that have done a pretty good job of recruiting top 10 talent. And ultimately that shows that, like, this conference is going to bring in the best young talent, which, again, elicits the scouts and the eyeballs, which should, in turn, bring more and more talent to the conference.
Real quick, can you name the 4 Big 12 players projected to be in the top 8? NBA Draft 2027.
Tyron Stokes.
Stokes is 1.
Bruce Branch.
Bruce Branch is 2 of the 4.
Caleb Holt.
Caleb Holt.
Mingo.
Nope. Mingo's number 11.
I'm thinking of only freshmen for the 2027 draft.
Mo Krivas.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because he's 7'2", 260.
I was thinking Koa Pete, but he's probably not in there.
Mm-hmm. Nope. All right, Fran Fraschilla, ESPN college basketball analyst, will join us coming up next. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, exclusively on TuneIn, powered by Modelo.
How did he get that off? How does McAllister stay up and keep cruising on? Real Hoover, McAllister.
Second and 5. Pressure up the gut. Looking for it. Finding a Kelvage. It's McAllister. Picking them up. Putting them down. Touchdown. TC.
He's good for a 205-pound transfer from Boise State. Had been chopping at the bit to make a play. He goes on the go route. A perfect back shoulder. And the rest is all him. He is striking out down the sideline for a touchdown.
Time for Hoover. Delivers a strike. McAllister. Off and running. Eric McAllister for the TCU touchdown.
In football, Josh Hoover's going to get it to Eric McAllister on a 5-yard slant. But Jalen Davis Robinson, number 11, or number 13, and Jaden Milner-Jones, number 11, both missed tackles.
McAllister. Look out. Eric McAllister. Touchdown TCU. 85 touchdown reception this year for McAllister, who's missed some games recently.
What a response. I mean, he just runs right past him. And a perfect throw by Hoover.
Big 12 today. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. Fran Fraschilla, ESPN College Basketball, joins us now on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. Hey, Fran, what's up?
James, all good. When do we start the season?
No kidding, man.
Oh, we got football. I forgot. We got college football before that.
Yeah, we'll dabble with a little football before basketball. But, man, the portal and all the guys that are going to be in this league, and we just talked about 4 of the top 7 prospects according to Rivals and their recent reshuffling of the deck with their top 150 will be in the conference next year.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the portal, how would you evaluate Big 12 teams and how they've stacked up? Because, you know, Sean Miller, the head coach at Texas, they poach a couple of Big 12 players. He said there's $20 million rosters aplenty now in college basketball. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny. I tweeted this out the other day. I mean, I like David Punch. He's a nice player, a young man that played at TCU. And this is the new world we live in. For the money that Texas offered him, TCU got 4 really good players out of it. It's almost like the NBA where do you want the star or do you want the 4 really good role players? And like DJ Thomas, from Allen, Texas, he's about the same place that David was after his freshman year. This is the young man that transferred from West Virginia back home to Dallas. So I was talking to some TCU coaches yesterday, and they did really well. They couldn't afford to pay David Punch what he wanted and got from Texas, and yet it might have worked out better for them. So the portal really give us and take us away, and there's a lot of savviness involved that a lot of us are still getting used to. The analytics of whether you should sign a guy for $2 million or sign 2 or 3 guys for the same amount of money that maybe are as good in terms of helping your team. So that's just a big picture view of it. But West Virginia's done great in the portal, obviously. TCU's been solid. Arizona State seems to have done well with Randy Bennett. I'm going to forget people, obviously, but most of the Big 12 teams are stocking up pretty well.
Yeah, and I love the Moneyball aspect of it, and was going to ask you about that tweet you had.
Yeah,
sort of referencing the approach for do you sign 4 or 5 guys for the same price of 1? Now Texas has the money to sign those 4 or 5 guys at that price.
Yeah,
but TCU does not, and so I think the arithmetic works. But I do think there is a Moneyball aspect to this, because even when you look at Michigan, like there were some players, Mara is obviously the big name, that you couldn't have projected based on previous numbers what they would do. So some of this is based on how much money you're going to pay them, number one, and number two, how do you project their production? Because some guys tank in production; they might be 20-point scorers, and then they come and they're 7-point scorers, and the other guys ascend and go the opposite way.
Yeah, it's the evaluation process, Ari. It's similar to what they try to do in high school recruiting, although there's even more projection there. Like when you're Michigan and you get a chance to sign like a Merez Johnson or a Yak Slenderborg, Adai Mara, you kind of have a idea of what they could be because you've seen them in college at the highest level. So it's a little different than the high school top 50 kid or top 25 kid. But that's kind of the new world we live in, is the evaluation process. I mean, let's face it, like Kansas hit the jackpot with Melvin Council Jr. this year, who I don't even think Bill Self expected him to be as good as he was. And it wasn't just on the court, it was just the energy he brought to that team. But then you look at Timberlake and A.J. Storr before that, Rylan Griffin. And, there's hits and misses here throughout college basketball at that power conference level. And so it's the evaluation process. And, so we'll see how it works out for TCU. But I think in that case, they did well. I mentioned West Virginia. They had a really good year in the portal. Plus, you guys are going to love Miles Sadler, the freshman point guard I think he's from Toronto. It might be from Montreal. He's a Canadian kid. I watched him as a sophomore a couple years ago and was enthralled. I mean, this kid honestly, he might be one of the top 15 high school players in the country this year coming to college. And he was a little under the radar, but he destroyed, the Nike Hoop Summit. He was incredible. He's the best player on the court with Tyron Stokes and others. And then, Kansas, of course, gets the number one player in the country, Tyron Stokes, who's a great talent. So the league's doing well. No question about it. It's got cachet now. Some schools have more money than others. That's just how it works. But I think the league is going to end up being in a strong position as we get ready to start 26, 27.
Yeah, Fran, totally agree on Sadler. Very overlooked in terms of the incoming freshman in the league. And then also, like we noted yesterday, that West Virginia just added an old friend alert, Josan Sannon, who played quite a bit at St. John's, but didn't exactly have the same production that he had the year before at Arizona State when he was really good. So what does that do for Ross Hodge in West Virginia?
Well, first of all, I have a great affinity for my friends in the state. They love their Mountaineer basketball, and I remember telling everybody when Darren DeVries left and Ross Hodge came in, I said, "You've got a tremendous young coach," and he did a great job this year, putting together a roster really on a moment's notice after he got the job. This last few weeks, they've obviously had a year get their feet wet. And Mountaineer fans are just going to love what Ross Hodge is doing. So he's a great addition. He's Grant McCaslin 2.0. Of course, they have that connection at North Texas. So I'm really pleased for West Virginia fans because they love their team. And, they expect somebody, I remember talking to Coach Hodge about this, and no disrespect to Darren DeVries, who did not have 2 feet in the circle when he went to West Virginia. He had 1 foot out the door from the time he got there. We could all tell that. But Ross Hodge has really ingratiated himself with his blue-collar approach at a state that is the ultimate blue-collar state. Hardworking, good folks in the state. I know I'm going to get some free pepperoni rolls because of this, but I think that that's a great fit coaching-wise, and he's got some kids coming in that can really play.
Yeah. Fran, you've always done such a good job evaluating talent, especially international talent. Who are some of the guys that maybe are coming into the Big 12 or guys that are still available that are maybe looking to sign in college that you think would be huge additions potentially to the Big 12?
Oh, it's interesting because, it's a good question, Ari. I know there's a lot of international kids coming in. I focus a lot of times on the guys that are NBA talents. That's what I did for all those years on the NBA draft. And but what's happened is, in the big picture, I'll give you the big picture, is that, by the way, the young man from Kansas State is staying. Was it Alexei Kostic?
Yeah.
Great sign because he started playing well at the end of the year. Or he had his moments of being really good. But the thing that I would tell you about the international kids, because of NIL now, is up until 5 years ago, very few of these guys would have come to college because they were turning pro. But when they turn pro overseas, unless you're Ricky Rubio or Luka Doncic, you're making $2,000-3,000 a month, $4,000 a month when you're 19 or 20. These kids now have hit the mother lode on the NIL, and their agents realize it. That's why you see so many of these guys, popping up around the league. And so nobody really comes to mind as someone I could say, oh, this guy's going to be an NBA player someday. But a lot of good role players coming from across the water. We saw it with Illinois, obviously, with the Balkan Five. And so that's become what I would say is a new pipeline for talent. And that's why you'll see a lot of D1 schools going to Europe in the summer. Every summer in Europe, like we have EYBL and the various sneaker circuits in July, Under Armour, Nike, Adidas. They have under 16, country by country, under 18 years of age, country by country, under 20. And that's where you see a lot of colleges now going over there in the summer to look at the good young talent that's now coming over here. And by the way, no disrespect to Manhattan, Kansas, or Stillwater, or Lubbock, places I love, but when you tell a kid from Serbia or Croatia that they're going to play college basketball in Manhattan, Kansas, they think they're going to Las Vegas. They're so excited to come to the United States and play college basketball that Manhattan, Kansas, and again, I love Manhattan, Varsity Donuts, is a big thing to them because they want to be in America. So it's a new pipeline for all the power conference schools. And as we get closer to the season, I'll fill you in on the guys that I believe can have an impact.
Yeah, Fran, the strip is called Aggieville in Manhattan,
Aggieville,
Kansas.
baby. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Hey, there's a new courtyard right there in the corner in Aggieville. A lot of good stuff going on in Aggieville. Not poo-pooing it at all.
No, you said it, man. Can you put into perspective just how deep the talent pool is internationally? Because like we see a lot of these Big 12 rosters right now with open spots. So we're assuming that the Big 12 is very much going to have an international flavor with some of these remaining scholarships.
Well, the problem with that, James, is that it does get picked over now. It's not like an unlimited supply of great talent over there.
Okay.
I mean, we still have the best talent in the world because we have 350 million people. But there are a sizable number of kids, I'd say a couple hundred, that at their age level, 18 and 19, some of them obviously are playing some professional basketball already, 20, 21, and older in some cases. They are coming over here, but you got to be careful you don't have buyer's remorse, because not everybody is as good as the Balkan Five at Illinois that can take you to an Elite Eight. In many cases, you're getting I don't know. It's like going to Dollar Tree. You know what I mean? You got to be careful of what you buy in Dollar Tree. There's some good deals there, but you also got some junk too.
All right, Fran, of the four of the top 7 guys coming in the league in terms of freshmen, not including Stokes and Caleb Holt, because we've talked so much about those guys.
Yes.
What's the one name that Big 12 fans need to know?
Well, throw the names at me because I don't have the list in front of me. But give me some names and I'll give you exactly what I think. Because I think, be careful. I'll say Caleb Holt is my odds-on favorite to be Player of the Year in the league next year.
Yeah, he was insane in the McDonald's All-American game.
And by the way, Tyron Stokes is incredibly talented. I hate to say this to KU fans, but Tyron Stokes is like a right-handed Michael Beasley, which, if you remember the talent was incredible. Michael Beasley's talent, the year he had. But Stokes is an amazing talent as well. Caleb Holt is my favorite because he fits Tommy Lloyd like a glove. He's tough. He's talented. He's likely to be a top 3 or 4 pick. And he fits that Arizona Wildcat toughness culture. And he's going to fit right in with Karchenkov and Krivas and some of the other great talent they have. So throw the other names at me, and I'll give you my thumbnail sketch on them.
Yeah, it would be Bruce Branch III going to BYU and then Dylan Mingo at Baylor.
Bruce Branch should be a high school senior this year. He reclassified. I was there on his visit when they played. It was the first big Monday game of the season. I think it was like January 28th or something. And him and his mom were visiting, and he fit right in. He even said yesterday, I was listening to him on a podcast. He said, in the first 30 minutes I was on campus, I knew I wanted to go to BYU. And he's a tremendous talent, 6'6", athletic. I saw him play at Dame Lillard's camp last summer. And the thing you got to love about Bruce Branch right now is how he fits in with the culture of what Kevin Young is doing at BYU. Yegor Demon, and then obviously, AJ going to be probably the number 1 pick, I think, right now. And now Bruce Branch, and a tremendous talent. Dylan Mingo, it's a 2-for-1 deal because I watched him and his brother play. They're from Long Island. I've watched them when I go back home. But the interesting thing about Dylan, he's a very dynamic, athletic, tough, hard-nosed guard, very similar to the guards that Scott Drew had during the national championship run. And I hate to say it this way, but when his brother was playing at Penn State last year, Caden, I kept thinking that whoever gets Dylan is likely to get Caden. And it turned out that way. Scott Drew was in on Dylan Mingo for a long time. There was probably a VJ Edgecombe connection at Long Island Lutheran. And Scott Drew is another guy that I think, I said this last year during the season, there'll be a Baylor renaissance coming soon, and I think you could see it underway. By the way, a very underrated freshman coming in is Monty Williams' son, Elijah, who's about 6'6". Maybe he's growing out of San Antonio, and really good. I want to call him a glue guy, but he's more talented than that. But he really impacts winning as a wing, and Baylor fans are going to love him.
Wow, he's going to Baylor too. Okay,
Yes.
awesome stuff. Yeah, I think the Mingo package deal was very much overlooked when the older brother signed with Baylor. Great,
right.
great stuff, Fran. Always great to catch up. Enjoy the draft, and we'll chat post-draft, I'm sure.
You got it. See you guys. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Fran Fraschilla, ESPN college basketball analyst here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. We wrap it up coming up next. He's Ari, I'm James. This is Big 12 Radio exclusively on TuneIn.
He scrambles. Romaine was in his face. He throws a pick. Interception for Gunnar Maldonado.
Against what might be the best front seven in college football. Ballard sits in the pocket, whistles one, tip drill and take it away again. Gunnar Maldonado's turn. It's on the left hip. Floors going to run the option. He'll pitch it out the field. That is defended perfectly. Gunnar Maldonado there to make the tackle. That was outstanding defense by K-State. Shaw takes the handoff. He's crushed out the three. Gunnar Maldonado from the safety level.
Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. If you haven't downloaded the Big 12 Conference app, you are missing out with breaking news, scores, stats. They've got all the schedules, and now us, our show, Big 12 Today and Big 12 Radio, via the Big 12 Conference app. You can listen to us on TuneIn. You can watch us anytime on Big 12 Studios, big12studios.com. We're on Amazon Prime, DirecTV, YouTube, and many, many other avenues. We had Nathan Geese today, the Texas Tech beat writer. Texas Tech softball, the 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal in the first hour. Our interview of the day today is Chancellor Johnson, Big 12 analyst and content creator, part of our Big 12 Power Hour, which is each and every day starting at 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time, and you can hear Chancellor Johnson at 2:45 Eastern. We will be breaking down the Big 12 Newcomer Series, the cornerback position, top 5 Big 12 cornerback newcomers in the league. Tomorrow we look at offensive tackles, part of our position-by-position series. Today we wrapped up the defensive side of the ball with our top 5 Big 12 defenders. So tomorrow we pivot over to the offense. Should be a lot of Red Raiders on the offensive line lists as we get started. All right, to wrap up the show, today is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Do you know what Cinco de Mayo commemorates?
Not Mexican Independence Day.
So you do know that.
I do know that.
Okay.
It is a battle.
Yep. Good job.
The Battle of
Pueblo. So an important battle that was won. Cinco de Mayo appears to be a bigger deal in America than it is in Mexico, for whatever reason. But it's not Mexico's independence. And there's always these like funny videos and clips that go viral of like people partying for Cinco de Mayo, and you know they're wearing whatever garb that helps them commemorate, and then they're asked, "What is this for?" And they say it's for Mexico's independence. And it looks hilarious. Oh, every year. It's not.
Why are Americans so dumb? Mexican Independence Day, by the way, is September 16th. Did I have to look that up? Maybe. Only about 10% of Americans actually know what Cinco de Mayo celebrates.
Wow.
10%.
Why are Americans so dumb? It's a great question. I don't know that it's true. Are we dumber than any other country in the world? In certain respects, yeah.
Are we?
Probably.
41% of Americans think that it's Mexican Independence Day. About 19% just flat out don't know what it is. That's how they responded to this.
See, that's better than thinking it's Mexican Independence Day.
It's just
not.
I don't know what
I don't know, but that's a better answer to me than Mexico, because at least then you're not like. My problem isn't with the dumb people; it's more with the confidently dumb people.
Okay.
Like I'm not very smart, but I know that about myself.
You know what you don't know.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are extremely confident in how dumb they are. And not that they're confident in their stupidity, but yet they're confident in the intelligence level that they don't have. Does that make sense? I'm not very smart. I just said that.
Break that down one more time.
I think there are a lot of people that are very ignorant, very dumb, but think they're very smart.
Oh, very much so. Over 100 million.
One of them's a point guard for the Dallas Mavericks right now. Smartest guy in every room he walks into. The other guy, is the partial owner of the Mavs. Another guy, smartest guy, smart. I've never seen a guy that is looking for microphones so often to tell people how stupid he is, other than Mark Cuban.
Who's the starting point guard for the Mavs? I thought they had injury problems. Who is it?
Yeah, you're right. Kyrie Irving.
Oh, okay. You were talking about Kyrie.
Yeah, two guys that are just super smart. I can't even imagine they could be in the same room together because they're so smart.
Taman's taking that personally. Over 100.
Taman knows that I feel that way about Kyrie.
I'm going to buy Ari a Kyrie Irving jersey.
You should do it.
As a gift.
You should.
Over 100 million.
He won't get that money, by the way.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Over what?
100 million Americans celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Celebrate it at an absolutely elite level with absolutely no idea why. Mavs got a new GM, right?
By the way, how are they celebrating?
With Modelo's.
Right. I was gonna say, like, what constitutes 100 million Americans celebrating?
Right. It's just an excuse to pound some beers.
I mean, is it
chug some brewskis.
obviously it's Modelo is what you have to do to celebrate Mexico's independence, or the Battle of Puebla, whichever one it is.
100 million Americans celebrating, 90 million just guessing what for.
I'll give you 100 million if you can pronounce the name of the Mavs' new GM.
Taman, I think that's for you.
No, it's not. But I'll give Taman a shot here. And if Taman doesn't know it, Taman, what are we doing? It's your GM.
I know, and I have a hard time pronouncing it too. But is it Masai Ujiri, the former Raptors GM, now Mavericks GM, and alternative governor of the Mavericks?
I'm pretty sure Masai is right.
Masai is definitely right.
Masai Ujiri.
I'd go Ujiri.
I don't think either of you are right.
Masai Ujiri is joining the Dallas Mavericks as team president.
I mean, he's Nigerian, not Hispanic. You're like taking the J and making it an H.
And I'm making it a Y.
Ujiri.
Ujiri.
Making it
Sounds
a Y.
right to me.
I'm
I'm
still
rolling
go
with
with
it.
Ujiri.
I'm rolling with it. It's a soft J. Do you know it?
No. I just thought it'd be funny to make you try to pronounce it.
Hang on.
He won a championship with the Raptors the year that Kawhi Leonard was in Toronto, and he's taking over the disgraced, gone Nico Harrison.
All right, it is Masai Ujiri. Ujiri.
I call that.
Ujiri.
Well, you should know. He's the GM of your team.
Masai Ujiri.
Masai Ujiri.
Rhymes with cheery.
Who's the Bulls' new GM? They got a new one.
Bryson Graham.
Oh, that's such
a little bit of an easier name. He's actually from San Antonio.
Huh?
Hopefully he hires a
approve?
San Antonio assistant to be his next head coach.
Do you approve?
Sure. It doesn't matter.
He's a Spurs guy?
No. He's from the Hawks. I'm saying that he's from San Antonio originally. He's a San Antonio guy.
Native.
But not from the Spurs. No, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're just reshuffling chairs and the deck chairs in the Titanic. The Bulls are a disgrace of an organization. It doesn't matter who they plug in to be their general manager. They're going to be a disgrace. What? They're basically the Cowboys and the Bulls.
The curse of Jerry.
Dominated the 90s, and neither team has won anything since then. I mean, very few playoff games to speak of. Both teams, the Bulls and the Cowboys, absolutely dominated the 90s. Both have not won anything of substance since then.
It's been a minute.
For either team. You can count the amount of playoff wins they both have on one hand.
Who has more?
Playoff wins?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the Bulls should, because you get a 7-game series.
I mean, oh yeah, Derrick Rose. I was trying to think, when were the Bulls?
Yeah, they got to a conference
They
final.
were really good with D Rose.
Right.
They were really close.
So close.
He got hurt in that series, right?
I think it was the following year in 2012. He got hurt. The Bulls had the best record, and he got hurt in the first round and was out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's the
it.
year I'm thinking of.
The following year.
The year like, hey, if he doesn't get hurt, this team's probably winning the NBA Finals.
They lost, I'm pretty sure they lost to LeBron of the Cavs
In 2012 or in the conference finals?
in the conference finals.
They lost to the Heat.
Heat.
Yeah,
Yep,
Heat
you're right.
2011. Yeah.
You're right.
2011, was that peak Heat?
Yep, LeBron and the Heat.
That was
LeBron and the
Heat.
Heat, the LeBron All-Star team.
Uh-huh.
They lost
Ray
to the
Allen, Chris
Mavs.
Bosh.
2011. That lives in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That entire Heat run to me has an asterisk behind it, with LeBron just recruiting his guys. I don't know.
I mean, I could diminish every LeBron championship while we're doing it. I mean, he had the Lakers championship in the bubble. That was as asterisk as it gets. But I got to give LeBron credit right now. He's older than, he's about as old as J.J. Redick. He's older than another coach. And he's putting up some video game type numbers right now and leading the Lakers to the second round of the playoffs without Luka.
And complaining about the refs to 8-year-olds on the sidelines. Did you see that viral clip?
It's
No joke.
It's amazing for LeBron because he has played with players whose dads were in the league.
Yeah, and he's playing with his son.
I know. That in and of itself is
Says it all.
Yeah.
All right,
he's the same age as J.J. Redick, who's his coach.
Really weird. Really weird dynamic. All right, tomorrow we are ranking the top 5 offensive tackles. Offensive tackles tomorrow here on Big 12 Radio. Special thanks to Fran Fraschilla, ESPN college basketball analyst, Chancellor Johnson, Big 12 analyst and content creator, and Nathan Geese, Texas Tech beat writer from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. For Anthony, for T-Chains, Taman Turner, we're back tomorrow. Same time, same place, 8A to 11A Eastern Time right here on the channel. This has been Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. We're out.